All right, I'm live, but that pretty photograph disappeared. Had a nice beach scene all set up. It's an experiment. Somebody comes in, we'll talk about anything they want to, or only subjects I got, AI, uh, whales and gators. We got the plan, my interpretation of all this silver price volatility. Not financial advice. I do have some financial advice. Don't take financial advice from pretty much anybody. I can't tell. Someone's here. Thanks for coming in. I can see there's no chat. Tell me if there's any volume, or put something in the chat if you can hear me. I'm experimenting with a laptop, easier on my back, and a plug in, and I thought I'd try to figure out how to get different screens on there. Well, a lot of the channels do it. Salty Cracker, Decoy Voice, Salivate Metal. Or actually, no, Sal puts his is just his either camera or phone. Who does that stuff? Oh, plenty of them. You know where they go. Oh, T Square. Oh, they gone. Got a thumbs up though. Thank you. And stream. Don't want to do that. It looks like I've got some volume, but I don't know how much. Let me hit this little settings. Okay, use default overlay. Huh. Okay, I don't want that. Add a custom overlay for your breaks by choosing the videos. Integrated. No, I don't have a third-party encoder. Who does? Oh, close. What is that little thing? That's, if I touch this, I could get in trouble touching that thing. Well, I don't know, maybe I gotta turn my webcam on, even though I've got it blocked. See if that does anything. I was doing this one other time, experimenting, and say something about share screen. I don't know how that works. I'm almost afraid to touch these other buttons. I'll touch the camera, see what happens. I don't have access to that feature. Okay, thank you. And stream. See what that thing does. Oh, YouTube Creator Studio. What the heck? Okay, that's not what I want. Settings thing. See what this will send feedback. That's not what I want. Uh-oh. Click to add a screenshot. Okay. Click to add a screenshot. Okay, got it. No, that isn't. No. Don't want that. So, chat, edit. I'm gonna try to hit the edit. It doesn't seem like anybody's coming in. I don't blame him. It's been a while. I got really nothing to say. Okay, so that ain't it. Customization. When do I want to go live? I already did that. I've done that too. Cancel. It looks like I'm live. This is pretty frustrating. Let's see what that did. Oh, hello. Can't do that. Don't have access to this feature. What a hassle. That's no good. Channel level setting. Hey, West Texas, can you hear me? Thank you for coming in. Howdy to you. Just doing some experimenting, trying to figure out how to use this fancy laptop. Kind of like how T-Square, I don't know, are you familiar with T-Square? You know, he has, it looks like he's got a bunch of tabs stuck all along his screen. It could be from a desktop. Maybe laptops are no good for this stuff. I don't know. But thanks for coming in. I just found another feature I don't have access to. Pop out dashboard. I don't think I want to touch that. Touch that button. So yeah, if you're still here, is there any volume? This is a plug-in earbud thingy, which I have used it. I mean, the microphone's worked in the past on my old phone when I was making videos. It just makes it so I don't have to lean over so close to the telephone if I'm using that as my camera and that microphone there. I got me a fancy wireless microphone. It worked okay on my old, worked great actually on my old phone, Motorola, which, man, I hadn't had bad luck with Motorola. They swell up. And I don't think, unless it's perspiration, it's not like I'm, have had water accidents with the thing. So maybe it's a battery issue. But now I'm on, got a Samsung Galaxy, and there's no microphone plug. And I knew that when I bought it. I was slightly bummed out. But yeah, and I'm not sure whether I can use my old phone. It still works. I use it for, got a bunch of passwords stashed on that thing. But okay, so Tex is gone. Thanks for coming in. I wish I'd have remembered. Maybe you can't hear me. Please let me know if there is any audio and if it is okay. 7 minutes of blank. So what was I going to say? Oh, I can. There was a boomer who had a stack. I-A-I-A-O-G. And on this farm he had a dragon. A-I-A-I-O-G. A lot of AI stuff. I just don't trust AI. Anything. I know it's coming around the mountain, or maybe it's already around the mountain. But I'm just not crazy about it. Maybe if I knew how to use. Oh, hey, West Texas. Thanks for coming back. And oh, you're still in here? I don't know. Maybe not. Okay, so you don't trust AI. If I were to guess, I would think that you were leery of AI. You seem to me kind of conservative, or maybe leery. And I know you're former military, so I think that, I don't know if all former military people, I did my 4 years, but way back in 78 to 82. It was a big party back then in the Navy. But yeah, I don't know if there's a correlation between former military or even active duty for that matter. I do talk to hey, FG, hey, you won. Thank you for stopping in. Can you hear my audio at all, FG? Okay, there's a yes. Thank you so much. That was one of the things I wanted to test with this laptop experiment. Thank you, FG. Audio sounds good. Thanks, West Texas. Yeah, FG, you won. I did an impromptu live, and then I realized really quick into it that my back was. I'm still recovering from a back injury. I don't know. Maybe I felt like I was 90%. Actually, I feel like I'm really close in regular activities, but leaning over to this ugly, really not ergonomically sound, air quotes, studio setup that I have used successfully in the past. I mean, my videos were junk, but it didn't hurt. I even bought I went to Goodwill and I found a tattoo artist chair. I thought maybe that's more, because they're always leaning over, bending over. Yeah, you want a 65 dime. So yeah, so I did that. Thank you so much for reminding me. Uh, yeah, you win a 65 dime. No, you know what I'm going to send you? I'm going to send you a tenth of an ounce blank. I got them from Pan Am Silver. It's been quite a while. Um, and they're 9.99. And I've got some discs, little 1 gram discs and little 1 gram bars. And when I was trying to learn how to melt, I learned how to melt, sorta. It was a fail. The MAP gas with the wind, and it's just not good for me. I probably need a furnace if I ever try to attempt that again. But along that journey, I got a custom, you know, stamp, the kind you, it's reversed on one end, and it's got a place for the hammer to go on the to make a stamp into something. So I'm gonna put one of those, and you win that, because I did that quick video, and then I was trying to figure out how to make it go. When you're done doing a live, you have to click something to make it public versus private. And so when I was trying to figure that out, I was watching the video, listening mostly, and I realized I was saying 65, 65. Well, I've had I've had a laser surgery on both eyes within the last month. Well, let me see, what was last month? January 26th was my first one, and then 2 weeks later I had one on my left eye. It's called a iridotomy. I don't know, something. I got good insurance, and so I probably should have investigated that a little bit more than before I agreed to it. And so as I'm listening to the playback, I heard myself saying 65, 65. And I think because my eyes are not great, I wasn't using my magnifier like I should have. The 63s looked like 65s to me. And so I was just kind of just flying by the seat of my pants, and was just kind of speaking what I thought I saw. and then I discovered, oh, well, that's wrong. So first thing I did was I went and looked at the dimes, and they are 60, a lot of 63s. There was a 59. The first one I saw was a 1950. I thought it was a 59. There was a 59 along the way, and made me wonder whether I think I have a 59 dime and a quarter, and probably a Ben Franklin for my date of my year of my birth. But yeah, no, I think. Well, I don't know. What's a gram of silver? I think a gram of silver is worth more than a clad dime. Yeah, well, that was the whole point of that part of that exercise in the video. Uh, I don't know what video it was. It was a live, I think. I don't know, but I ain't right in the head. But yeah, that was the point of that segment, was to take those dimes out of that SD roll. It's much easier. The old rolls, remember, you used to a bunch of extra on both ends, and you would kind of crimp it in, and they had denominations on the outside. But yeah, and so I thought, so instead of taking it down immediately, which I have figured out how to delete nonsense that I put up there, and home rolled, yeah, and so I thought I'll just leave it up there and see if anybody notices it, without advertising. Hey, if you see the error in this video here, with the arrows, I don't know how to do all that stuff. Get a free gram of silver. But so yeah, and I think I've got your address, because you sent me some good stuff. I don't know if I followed up on it. I've just been miserable. I don't want to blame the silver channels, but everything was fine until I started noticing the silver channel stuff probably June of 24. And then ever since then, oh man, I had a heart attack. 3 days in the hospital for that, a stent, and then I got out for 3 days, and then I got rushed back in because of, I don't know, I felt like I was having a stroke, and I slid down the shower door and just like road rashed my whole face, and spent another 3 days in the same hospital, where they accused me of having COVID. And I told him, I said, how could I have COVID? I was here, 6 days or 4 days ago, and I was fine. I didn't go anywhere but home. Nobody there's got COVID. It's just a almost 90-year-old and a 65-year-old, and nobody's sick. And where did I get it? Hint, hint. But a space miner comes in. All right, you probably need more silver in your diet. I tell you, speaking of that, that's a good subject as far as the prices nowadays. Kind of high, yeah. I'm pretty sure you guys are like been stacking for a while. Although I think if you brand new to stacking, sometime in 2024, I think you've done all right, depending on what you wanted out of the thing. Uh, yeah, I think so. But I think if you got in the end of December, you might be, depending on your motives for buying silver, or being a new stacker at that point in history, you might be bummed out. Or if you're thinking 20 years down the road or 30 years down the road, that's how my stacking started, with a 30-year plan, which ends in 2029, when I turn 70. Well, then maybe it's just, whatever. Being constantly bombarded with the spot price and the controversies and the evidence of paper manipulators and governments, and now the Chinese. I know the Chinese. I'm married to her. She's part Chinese. She's Hawaiian Chinese. The Chinese have I don't know, they kind of easy to pick on them in the past, I think. I don't know. Um, I'm not a fan of communism, but I don't think they're the problem, the major problem in the world. Maybe they are. Um, but I think about the Chinese because I think if Hawaii ever gets, you know, overrun, I think it would be the Chinese. And if so, I don't think any of these local Japanese folks are going to be happy, because the Chinese still hate Japan, no matter what they say. Just my opinion. Still hate Japan from just the Second War. Right before the Second War was bad. So, Space Miner, thank you for coming in. Thank you for the thumbs up as well. I wish I had a pretty picture up there. I had a really nice beach scene from Ko'olina, which is a resort. They've actually got a Disney hotel there too. A Disney. It's called Aulani, and some Marriott's and whatnot. Yeah, Taiwan is the canary in the coal mine, and Hawaii is bowing up on Taiwan. There is a big chunk of real estate that the Taiwanese something society, or whatever, they built it up about 30 years ago, and they've just let it just get ratty, and now it's syringe city, homeless, crime, muggings, pretty close to Chinatown, if not in Chinatown. So, and I just saw that in the news within the last week or so. It was in the paper. I don't really watch television, but it was on the front page of the Sunday paper, which I don't read, but I have to buy it because my mother-in-law and wife are obituary reading addicts. It's the only thing keeping that paper alive. Obituaries are super expensive if you get the beyond the public information stuff. But oh, and yeah, so I think that's going to be a key there. Lost shock value when we jump 15 to 25. Yeah, I'm with you, Space Miner. I did pause on that, and fortunately for me, it kind of coincidentally timed up with some surprises in life. I don't know when that was, probably 2007-ish. I forget, but I remember bogging, but I'd already gotten in heavy at, $5 to $8. Yeah, I get sticker shock, but I've bought a little bit. Have I bought any silver in 20? I haven't bought any silver in 2026. Actually, I haven't bought anything in 2026. But 25, I was mostly pawn shop gold. I bought a fancy 2026 Eagle Proof. That was the most I've ever paid per ounce. I think that was $97 for 25 proof. And I bought think about a Yankee stacking round and Tim, just fiddly stuff. Oh, and some key dates, Type 2 Eagle, Silver Eagles, because I kind of have a Silver Eagle date run thing going without really trying. And if I'm missing it in regular bullion, I got it in proofs because I got proofs from '86 till probably about 2014 or 15. And then I just, life got in the way and I had to move to Hawaii. So I didn't buy any silver from late 16 until kind of when I met the YouTube channels here in 2024. And that was somewhere around June, July, whatever. Not no, Space Miner, you've got other stuff going on. I know you talk about some elements that I'm not completely familiar with, although I don't know how many elements there were back in 1974 when we had to memorize the periodical chart. But osmium seems interesting. There's some others. You've lots of pretty scientific sounding names, laboratory type names. No, I wish I had a pretty picture. I had a pop out dashboard. I don't know what the hell that is. I'd show my face, but yeah, I like my anonymity. Grabbing some lunch. Okay, grab that lunch. I just had my morning oatmeal a couple hours ago. Wow, it's 10:26 here, and it's with the wind chill. It is 72 degrees. It's windy. I don't know if you can hear those chimes in the back. It's usually got chimes and feral roosters serenading me. So yeah, so FG's gone, but yeah, thanks FG, even though you're gone. Yeah, I tell you, I'm with you, Space Miner. I'm actually looking at other avenues of wealth preservation. I got 1.5 months to go on a land contract for my last property in Ohio with the people that've been renting it since 2017. It's the technology metals you're interested in now. Yeah, so, and I was getting ready to kind of head that way, Space Miner. Space Miner theory, we've been eating our reserves a long time and replenishment is low. I feel you. I'm thinking, if they need to build X amount of millions of homes, that's what, these mainstream media or the YouTube channels, they need X amount of homes. And, homes are, I think this home was built in 1972, has had nothing done to it other than I did a DIY on a slab leak, hot water slab leak. Boy, that was an expensive week. But the copper replacement, and I know some people are not using copper to replace their plumbing. They're using PEX or something, or something, CB, something, PVC, P, or whatever. I'm a copper fan. My home in Ohio, which part was built in the teens and the other part was built in the early 70s, all copper. So I think copper. Now, would I go out and stack copper? No more than I have, for my adult life. If I see copper, if I change out something and I got a hunk of copper pipe, I stash it. I've got probably, I don't know, 8 to 13 pounds. I don't know, a lot of Wheaties. I've segregated those pretty much my whole adult life. Actually, even young life, teenage, school age kid. And I've segregated all my 81 and olders. And then I've got probably, I don't know, half as many of those as I got Wheaties. And they're all 90% copper. And then I've got, I put all my 82s in a spot, a drawer, probably 5 or 6 different drawers or different spots that someday I'll weigh them and test them, and not test them, but weigh them and segregate the copper from the clads. If I do be pipe, wire, and sheet, yeah, I got I think it's a 12 gauge double sink, double basin copper sink. Thing weighs a bunch. I use it in my garden. I got it for $20 at an auction here on the islands. I could have bought 5, and I should have, but I didn't have space for 5. Although in retrospect, I did and do. But I'm not so. Yeah, I understand the physical. In Ohio, I had a lot of space. I had my house was on a quarter acre, and then I had a third of an acre attached to it. That was attached to a canal, the Ohio Erie Canal. So I had all kinds of space to put copper. I mean, I was a scrounger. I'd scrounge, but I didn't hold it. I didn't stash it too much. I put it in like a plastic 55-gallon trash when it got to the point where I could get it up in my truck and take it to the scrapyard. That's what I did. All different kinds of metal, wire. I used to, cut plugs off of air conditioners and things like that people would leave out in their trash to get taken away by the trash guy. But I'm thinking, something like a pretty passive ETF. Got a Fidelity account. Um, it's pretty good. I mean, it's actually pretty cheap. ETFs, it's like, if you put in 10,000, I think $10,000 might cost you $3 in fees for the year. I don't know. It's not much. I just look at the numbers, the end numbers. But I was thinking and I did a little research on the CPR or CEP or COCU, all different kinds of ticker symbols. Because I think, if they need 50 or how many million houses, they're going to need materials for that. And I just don't have the space to stash a bunch of copper. And the recycling here on the islands it's a scam. It's a ripoff. Even with your 5-cent aluminum can deposit, you don't get 5 cents per can. They give you in weight. They're not counting the cans. They're just weighing it. And then probably, what are you going to say? Oh no, I weighed that. No, it's hard to weigh. Two or 4 or 5 big bags that are filled with cans. Same thing with the plastic bottles. And they're really strict. You can't crush the cans. To make it easier to stash them at home before you go try to cash them in. You got to take all the lids off the bottles. You get used to it. I'm used to it. I got a bunch that I have to recycle, but it's pain in the ass. Sometimes you might wait 45 minutes in line. Sometimes you might show up at the right time and be in and out in 15 minutes. So Space Miner, it says, if you're into electronic scrapping, I'll tell you a secret. It's not the silver, copper, gold in them that makes it with it. It's the tantalum that'll get you weight value. Now, see, there's another kind of over my head term. I believe it. But I tell you, I'm old and I'm wearing out. So I'm looking to figure out how to do everything that I want to do from a phone and or this fancy laptop. And I'm failing at the laptop lives. I still haven't figured out how to transfer something I film on my camera to my laptop. Yeah, I'm just not good at this stuff. China's the leader in the heavy metals refining, so they're going to get way more expensive for U.S. companies. I am totally on board with that, FG. Whether it's China or India or Russia or whoever, there's some little country. Maybe it's in Africa no, Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan's got some kind of mineral or element that they're dominant in, and apparently it's sought after by industry. I never thought of industry back in the 80s and the 90s when I was learning about sound money and the Federal Reserve, which is not federal and there are no reserves. I discovered, probably discovered Murray Rothbard before Ron Paul, but it was probably coincidentally right around the same time. So I never thought of industrial use. I was thinking, money, SHTF, The end of the world as we know it, that kind of stuff. SHTF Trading Post. I use that as a joke, but I used to think that. Of course, I was influenced by a lot of novels that I was reading. Space Miner agrees with FG Stacker. FG, you are spot on, and refiners are the future of money making. That I believe. Now, Forrest, hello, good morning. Refiners, then mines is going back to stock investment. I agree. Now, believe it or not, Hawaii doesn't seem to have a refinery backup. They've got numerous branches now. Where they're doing the actual refinery, probably on Oahu, because everything revolves around this is the main island. It's got over 1 million people on this island compared to Kauai or even the Big Island, which is 5 times larger, but way less populated. Elementals. And they got one not far from where I live, at least a branch. Now, will they deal with Joe Bag of Donuts off the street like me? I don't think so. I think you got to have like an account or a jewelry store or maybe some kind of EIC or some kind of business number, which translates in Hawaii to fees and taxes and permits and blah, 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 blah. But I had no problem turning in some scrap 14 karat gold. You know, some of this stuff was over 40 years old. You know, bracelets, chains that broke. My high school class ring, which was from 1970. I think we got those things our junior, sophomore, or junior year. I forget. 10 karat, ugly. And I think gold was right around 48 or something like that. I don't know. It was way up there. And I'd been procrastinating doing it because of illnesses and back injuries and blah, blah, blah. And I used Vermilion Enterprises kind of as a guide to what I would have taken anything. Trust me, if they'd have said, 70% of melt, I'd have taken it. But I had an idea. I felt like I wanted to stay between 80 and 90% because Vermilion pays 90%. I ended up getting 88%, and I didn't have to drop Brian Vermilion's name or nothing. It's just what he offered it. And I was gonna put that into another metal, not jewelry, but I didn't mind increasing my fiat stack, and so I do stack cash. Not like my mother-in-law. My God, she's so old-fashioned. Never had a debit card. Never had a credit card. Keeps everything in the bank, the regular, the down the street bank. It's not even a major bank. They don't have any major banks here except maybe, I don't know if American Savings is national, but it's mostly all local Hawaiian banks. And I just saw Bank of Hawaii in the news about how they are informing, or at least putting out a notice to their depositors, their customers, that, your FDIC is safe with us. But then I did just a few clicks and found out that the FDIC, at least over here, at least with Bank of Hawaii, they have up to 99 years to pay you back your savings and whatever savings and checking money you got in their bank, if indeed the FDIC needs to step in. Isn't that comforting? Fortunately, my mother-in-law is not with Bank of Hawaii, but I can't imagine First Hawaiian Bank, although they were the first bank in Hawaii. I don't know if they're in any better shape or if they're tied into all that bullshit. I am not a big fan of banks. I use them. It's like credit cards. I have a credit card. I use it, but I use it to my advantage. And it's not just cash back. I'm not a huge fan of credit scores or ratings, but I think they're going to be important someday if I live long enough. Social credit scores, all this, that, and the other things. So, yeah, FG is spot on. But you know what? FG and you too, Space Miner. You guys are usually spot on. Matter of fact, I don't detect any non-spot on talk or chat from either of the two of you. There's Happy Tiger 8. Hello. You are so kind. I hope you're feeling better. I know. I tell you, when I feel like I'm feeling lately, I always know that there's somebody worse off than me. And so I don't know if that doesn't give you any comfort, but you kind of give me comfort with your support. Especially, I know you're more serious, seriously got more health concerns than I do. Although hard to tell nowadays. I'm 66 years old. So Space Mariner says we have a strong community. We all know the inevitable truth in front of us, and the realization is over time. Yeah, and I want to thank you folks, the Silver Channel community. Maybe not everybody, but majority. I never talked about precious silver or gold or anything with anybody. Had one friend, but he had some drug issues, and but he's the kind of one that got me into stacking because he needed money for, I don't know what he was doing back then. Not heroin, but what's the methadone. And then I kind of had to shy away from him because he became a mess. Graduated high school with him, even though he's almost 2 years older than me. He got held back, and I got skipped forward 1 year. So I was the youngest in my class and the smallest. But yeah, so I didn't talk about, and even with my local coin shop guy, which I eventually found through attrition, I lived in the boondocks, so the closest LCS was at least 35-minute drive if the traffic was perfect, and then parking was perfect. And there was a one that I mainly concentrate on because he did have eagles. Because after I got my first initial truckload of silver eagles, I came up with the idea, oh, you know what, I'm going to try to create one of these monster boxes a little bit at a time. So I kind of got addicted, and then I decided to start collecting proofs of fancy eagles. And then I'd run into maples and philharmonics and Canadian animals and kilo bars and stuff that if I went to the coin shop with my budget in cash, didn't know what spot was till I showed up, didn't care. I was mostly concerned with out the door. I want to empty my pocket with this paper and take home as many eagles as I can. But sometimes they didn't have a whole lot of eagles. I think there was a couple of times where they didn't have any. Or they had the fancy proofs. And that's how I found the 1/2 ounce, 24 karat U.S. Mint gold American President's spouse coins in their fancy boxes. And boy, they saw me coming for that. I believe that they stuck eagles, covered the eagles when I walked in because they knew that if they didn't have eagles, I'd buy something else. Space Miner, hey buddy, I don't know what that little symbol. Oh, that's a smoking thing. Yes, both. Although cigarettes, I'm trying to quit. I quit quitting, but I'm still. I had really bad chest pains last night. I'm not supposed to be smoking, but since I got off 2 or 3 weeks off of every cholesterol drug that they've tried to get me to take, which made me just so sick, so ill, abdominal cramps, fatigue, soreness. I couldn't even hardly lift my arms up to even shave or comb my hair if I had more. If I was concerned about that, I could barely get through my 2 shifts at work. 8.5 hours of some pretty heavy lifting. It might only be 10 or 25, sometimes up to 50 pounds at a time, but all physical movement. So in 2 days, I lift and move anywhere from 2 to 4,000 pounds of goods, awkward shaped goods. There is a new name. Oh, not a new name to me, but a new name to the chat. OC Omega Stacking 3. Hello. You got 149 subscribes? That's good. I think I'm subscribed to you. I don't know if I can check. Let's see if I can make this. Oh, yes, I can. Go to channel. All right. I am subscribed. Oh, yeah, recently, I think, or maybe not. But I checked out I checked out this. There was let me see on your videos. My whole copper coins in 1 kilo copper bar. Yep, I see that. So I checked that out. I'm not. Uh-oh, where'd I go? Oh, I'm back. Yeah. I tell you, again, I say I don't stack copper. I collect it when it gets in my way. But those big ass copper bars, those are kind of cool. I don't have space for a whole lot of them, but I wouldn't mind using one as a doorstop. But I'd rather have a silver brick, a big hunk of silver that looks like a brick. That if you leave it out, it's probably going to tarnish or turn colors and not look like a fancy silver bar. Oh, that guy, OG. You are the OG. Thank you so much for coming in. Sorry I don't have a pretty picture. I had a really nice, what you call it, beach scene from Ko'olina. It's on the other, it's right up the coast on the leeward side of Oahu. And it was there until I touched start. So maybe I'll figure this out with this. This is a lot more comfortable. By this time, the last time I tried to film something, I mean, I was probably groaning in between talking because it had quite a bit of pain. And I don't know if that contributed to my chest woes, my chest pain woes later on that evening, from bending over. Oh man, I know the alternative is usually not better for most people to getting older and keep on living, but oh man, oh that guy, hello, thank you. So anyway, sorry, no fancy picture, no charts, no way to put somebody else's offerings, YouTube offerings on the screen with a little rectangle of me down in the bottom. Maybe if I actually took the tape off of the webcam, I guess lens. I don't know. I got a piece of tape. It came with the computer, the laptop. It said, please remove. I didn't remove it because I swear sometimes I feel like my phone is listening to me. And if my phone's listening to me, there's a good chance that the laptop is watching me. Uh, so Omega Stecker has a 10-ounce Apmex silver bar. I had a silver bar. It was a hand-me-down. It was an Engelhard. Um, for some reason, before I never bought silver or gold off of eBay, but I was selling antiques and collectibles, a lot of pottery, oak furniture, barrister bookcases. I switched from selling the bookcases, and I would just take them apart and sell the parts. Man, that was a good return. Postcards, even had some leather postcards, and I just knickknacks and cast iron. I was heavy into cast iron, Griswold, Wagner, um, neat stuff. And then so I found, and I stumbled across the silver, and by that time it was close to it was around 2010, 2011. I'd already kind of paused on silver because it was getting pretty expensive. When I say pretty expensive, over $20, but expensive for me back then. And so I sold off my Engelhard bar, and I know I don't think spot price quite made it to 50, but I got $520 plus shipping out of that thing. I have no idea. Got great feedback. I have no idea whether it was. I'm sure it was vintage because I don't know where it came from. I think my dad played billiards and he gambled, and so maybe that's how he ended up with it. But it was a hand-me-down. My brother could have taken it. I gave him a choice of all the silver stuff that my dad had, old Morgans and barber stuff from his dad, who was a barber in the Depression. My dad was born in 23. And my brother was all full of himself. Oh, no, I've got silver. He had silver, paper silver. He got money. My brother got money. Well, his wife especially. They got, they're very well off. But so, okay, whatever. I didn't know that much about silver at the time, enough to to keep it. But I called this my ugly silver, that bar, some Panamas, real dank looking, dirty, tarnished, blackish stuff. But my brother picked the Franklin Mint President album of coins. And I think those, I don't know, maybe they were sterling, 925, 9.92.5. But I didn't care. He could have taken that Engelhard thing. I wouldn't have cared. I give him first pick of everything. But yeah, that my dad was close to dying at that point, so I was trying to get a head start on clearing things out while still paying a lot of attention to my father. So yeah, Omega stacking 3. Everybody likes you. So that guy. I'll tell you, I don't know if you guys know OTG. That guy OG. Guy's got a wit that really, it's really appreciated. He used to say stuff in people's chats, live chats that, if I was drinking something at that time, I would have laughed until it come out my nose. I understand all that copper stuff. I think it's a good. I mean, everybody's got a. I say any plan is better than no plan, and sometimes you can plan to not have a plan, which is kind of like a anti-plan. But the blizzard of '77 taught me to be prepared for anything, and I think it might have saved my life, but it definitely saved me a lot of discomfort in the blizzard of '78. I was in Ohio for '77, no power for 10 days. I was in North Chicago, A school for the Navy in late '78 for that blizzard in North Chicago. Would have been fine if I'd have been close to the base, but I wasn't. So, having a good shovel, having food, having all kinds of stuff in the trunk of my '74 Camaro, which I had to unbury twice from snow that year, it made it possible for me to get back to the base eventually. OC Omega Stacking 3 says, keep follow everyone, awesome channels. Omega's from New York. I've been to New York. Last time I was in New York City was in 1986, April. The Statue of Liberty was closed for makeover, so you couldn't get up in it. You could watch it from, a pretty decent distance away. I drove in a Jeep to get there. That was just part of the trip. Yankee Stadium was the major thing. That was hair raising. I didn't enjoy that driving around there. Okay, here's I love this. Space Miner says priorities: number one, family, yes. Homestead, yes. Finance, love, sustainability, profit over debt, yes. And I wouldn't mind having a Geyser bar. They are nice looking. Yeah, the only thing I would add to that, Space Miner, and I'm not pushing. I'm not a what do you call that? Prostigator. But I'm into the salvation aspect of Christianity. They don't push it on anybody. What were we talking about anyway? So what was I had actually wrote something down. So I did my little. What was that song? E-I-E-I-O. I forget what the name of that song was, but AI. Oh man, what do you guys think about AI? I think it's spooky. And I know a lot of people are kind of either coming down or getting on the side of an AI channel. It's called OG John AG. I don't like AI either. Matter of fact, I shy away from channels that use AI for anything. Although maybe not a thumbnail. Although sometimes, I tell you what it is. It's jealousy. I can't figure out how to do that stuff. So maybe that's why I don't like that part of it. But I don't like AI. I've watched some channels and we've been watching them for a year and a half or so, and then all of a sudden they kind of go AI, and it just I don't know, for some reason. Yes, Jesus is King. I'm washed in the blood of Jesus Christ. And so to me, it's such a priority that I don't even prioritize. It's just become such a ingrained habit to appreciate that and acknowledge it every single day, many times a day, to myself, occasionally to others. Priorities for that guy. Number 1, beer. 2, work. 3, medals. 4, drawing. That is so OG. I was in. I had beer was a pretty heavy priority of mine in the late '70s and most of the '80s. It kind of danced back and forth between Budweiser and cocaine. But I know it's a joke, but it's kind of the truth. I switched majors from in at Ohio State from political science to Budweiser on High Street, and it wasn't long after that I dropped out and joined the Navy. Yeah, see the world, and I'm glad I did it. I never would have met my wife, and October's going to make 47 years. I've said 46 for so long, I forgot. It's like I don't write very many personal checks, if any at all, anymore. At the beginning of the years, I always used to kind of mess up the new year. So yeah, October going to be 47 years. Oh my gosh, I'm so old. Thank you, OC. Be safe in your Be Right Back travels. That's funny, OTG. So yeah, I don't trust AI that much. I do a lot of Bible study and a lot of reading, so I'm not going to go too far out there. Proselytizing, that's what it is. But I have gotten some clues from the Bible that you know uh, people are going to be deceived, and there's billions of people on the earth. How are you going to deceive a billion people in a convenient squeeze of time? I think AI might be a tool that would help the devil do that. Um, he's back. All right, boy, that was a quick be right gone. Priorities, yeah. My priorities are my wife. Besides God, um, my wife is my number one priority for after I'm dead and gone. Very first silver is American Silver 2000. I just looked at a bunch of 2000s. I pulled out my loose tubes, my loosies, and I found some 2000s, a lot of 1987s. And I tell you, if I might do a video about it. 1987, and that was only the second year they did it. But even the difference between an 86 and an 87, and then any other years, the 87 is super nice, super shiny. Uh, I don't recall any milk spots on any 87s that I got, and I probably got quite a few of them. Um, but yeah, I was just fiddling around with some American Silver Eagles. So is it American Silver Eagle or Silver American Eagle? I used to think it was Silver American Eagle, but I think the majority of consensus is that it's ASE, not SAE. But either way, I like them, and the gold ones too. I tell you, if they made a copper, you know, especially if it was pure copper, I don't know, is there such a thing as 999 copper? I think so. Um, I would probably own one of those, especially if it was like a big kilo wheat penny U.S. Mint copper thingy. Oh, that would be cool. Ice. I missed all that. I was a downer guy in high school and college and until the 80s when the cocaine became popular. Cocaine was expensive. Compared cocaine to Quaaludes, as far as cost, back in the 70s, I mean, Quaaludes and Seconal and AS oranges, they were a much better value. And then this stuff come along. They called it tea, but what it was turns out it was PCP, and that was some good stuff. Even my burnout friends were telling me I was burnout on that. So yeah, that was towards the end of my civilian career. You were born in '87. Well, that's nice. I was married in '86. No, we got married the second time in '86. Got married in '79, but it got annulled because we eloped. And long story, because I was uh, not Hawaiian Chinese. I was Haole, Caucasian. Parents were against that at first, but it's worked out. So I think officially I've been their son-in-law since '86. But we don't even pay attention to that stuff. We don't even celebrate our anniversary by saying happy anniversary. We used to. back in the day, we used to go out and maybe go spend retail money at a steakhouse or something like that. But now we have one card in the morning. It's whoever gets up first gives that card, says inside, I love you, aloha about you, oi, happy anniversary, no specific date or number. And we pass it back and forth to each other that day. Same thing with birthdays. It's called America Silver Eagle. ASE. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on board with that now. For a while there, I don't know why I disagreed with it. Probably because all of a sudden I'm typing, ASE or SAE, where I'd never done that my whole life. Never talked about gold and silver with anybody. Oh, I was telling my local coin shop guy, I never really talked about it with him. How much? What do you got? You got any of this? Until one day, I don't know when, it was around 2011, early, or maybe I don't know, whenever the 5-piece 25th anniversary Silver Eagle set come out. He wanted me to buy 5 because there was a limit of 5 per account or 5 per household or something like that. And I already got the idea that he had recruited a bunch of people, relatives, friends, customers, maybe even to buy 5, and he would buy them from the people who bought them from the mint. And one set of those was $2.99. I don't know if that included shipping or not. And so he wanted me to do that, and I knew what he was going to do with it. I don't know if they called it flipping back then, but he was definitely going to resell it at a premium. I don't care. I don't begrudge him that. But it got me thinking. I said, no, I politely refused. He didn't treat me any different after that. And but I bought 2. And I got them both gift wrapped, which was extra. And I unwrapped the one, but I still have one of those 2011 25th anniversary 5 Eagle sets, which I paid $300 for, and that was the most I ever paid per ounce for anything. Any precious metal besides gold and other stuff, non-precious metal stuff. Lisa with an E, hey, how's it going? Space Miners is a naturals guy now, 100% product, one ingredient kind of a guy. There's a few types of plants I want to own. After that, I'm good. If I can't pronounce the ingredients on it, I don't eat it. We do almost everything from scratch. Now I make baklava. It might be the best baklava ever in the world. But and I tried to make homemade phyllo, with the pasta machine. It was a complete fail. So other than buying the phyllo dough, everything else is from scratch. There's some things we buy. We buy kamaboko, which is a fish cake. It's a Japanese product, and basically it's cod. Kind of decorative. Sometimes you slice it and put it in your salmon or your sushi nearby. It's like a garnish. But Lisa Anderson, welcome. Sorry, no fancy picture, Lisa. Or Space Miner. I don't know if I told you this. I just inept at laptop. I thought I'd try it. The last time I got on this laptop and tried to do something, there was a share screen thingy. So I must have touched the wrong button that gave me the capability to do that. And so I got no picture. Before I clicked start, there was a really nice pastoral beach scene from Ko'olina Resort on right up the coast from where I live. It's about maybe 35 minutes to drive there with no traffic and find a parking spot if you go early enough. Sometimes it takes longer to find a parking spot than it did to drive there. So yeah, so AI, I don't know. I deal with it. I don't really care. But I know that this OG, and somebody mentioned, I watch a lot of silver stuff, but I also watch kittens and puppies and rescue doll videos, a little bit of financial type investing videos, but that's been infiltrated with AI to the max. Because I've had to adjust my strategies in the past. I'm really excited for at the end of, what's this? This is February. At the end of March, my land contract is up, and they either got to get the financing to get it done, or I might end up going back to Ohio temporarily and turn that property back in, either turn it back into a 2-unit rental property, or I don't know, maybe I won't have to. I do have a realtor involved now, so I don't know. Um, but time will tell. So OC Omega Stacking 3 says, and Lisa says, "Hey, Happy Tiger." Happy Tiger is such a sweetheart, and Lisa too. Am I a member? I should be a member. I can touch these little icons. I wonder why that one doesn't. That one doesn't work for me. So OC Omega Stacking 3 on my channel. They write, I do channels, shout out videos, mail called, unboxing reviews, stacking copper, silver, and gold, EDC knives, reviews, videos. Awesome. I noticed that you have an eclectic array of subjects. I like knives. YouTube is done. That's why I keep losing subscribers. I had visions of when I discovered the channels, and I'd watch some silver channels. I go, oh, wow, I could probably do that. And then I learned that sometimes they earn commissions or something or other, a subscriber, this and that. So, yeah, I thought to myself, oh, that would be cool. And then I thought a little further. I said, well, it'd be nice if I could earn enough per month to take care of my Medicare Part B, or my wife's Medicare, because she does not work outside the house. I've got an outside employer, so I don't have to pay Part B, and Part A has no premium unless you make a ton of money. But yeah, I don't know about the subscriber, this and that. So I gave up on that. Just like smelting and pouring, fail. I'm just a fail at a lot of stuff, and I don't know. I'm kind of successful at being able to recognize things that I'm not good at. So I have a tendency to shy away from stuff that I suck at. Fortunately, I did not do that with golf. I started golf late in life, and I was just absolutely horrible. But I got addicted. It kind of really put a kink in my sales career, because instead of working ding to dong, 28, 30 days or 28 days or 26 or 28 days every month, I would just work my schedule. So my my pay went down, my net take home. But eventually I got good enough to pass the PGA playing ability test and got my PGA Class A membership card in the Professional Golfers Association of America. But I just realized, after looking at my old membership card, that's been over 20 some odd years. I left the business in 2001, and I haven't done a whole lot of golfing since then. Matter of fact, I didn't golf from 2000 into 2001. After I left the business in September too, so maybe 2002 until 2017, I didn't play any golf except one scramble. My cousin begged me to join their scramble team, thinking I was a ringer. Turned out I was. We did good, but yeah, so at least I stuck with that one. That's one thing I stuck with, that I was really horrible at the beginning. Omega, yay! Oh, that's nice. Those emojis are kind of cool. I like that tiger one. Hi, Tiger. When I see Tiger, I think of Apocalypse Now. Remember that, where Chef and them went out in the jungle they're already deep into close to Cambodia, and Marlon Brando's characters encampment, and they got out to pick mangoes. And they found a tiger. The chef was bugging out on that. It was like a little PT boat. Hi, Tiger, bye, Tiger. I got issues. So yeah, AI. I don't know. My jury's still out on that. I'm still shying away from it mostly. I do not begrudge other people using IA to, back to the YouTube income producing capabilities, subscribers, or what have you. I don't. That's fine. I wish them the best. And I started noticing, well, the way people spoke, what they spoke, what the words come out of them. I could tell something changed. They went from kind of stammering and not knowing nothing. I'm talking about, people that are fairly new to stagging, maybe within the last couple of years. That when they first started, I felt great. Wow, there's somebody that's kind of at my level. Don't know a whole lot. And then next thing you know, they're spouting off. It felt like they were reading off of a script. So I don't know how they were doing that, but I kind of have a suspicion that they were getting some AI, AI help. They are making robot puppies. Uh, I think I saw an ad for that. I don't click through on a whole lot of stuff. Uh, oh, that guy. I hope I don't end up like Brando in a cave. That was a little far fetched, but great movie. Uh, I hope I don't end up chubby and bald like he did. Um, but uh, robot puppies they are cute, the little one. But I've had the same breed of dog for over 40 years. We average about 11 and a half years out of every dog if we get them from a puppy. And I did some rescue, so I had some rescue dogs that I could only guess at what their age was when I got them. People surrendered. Yeah, I rescued dogs. I took dogs from people. Take them away from adopt them to place them elsewhere. They still they were still making payments on that dog. They bought it at a dog store, pet store. Crazy. Yeah, he did have a lot of friends, but it seemed like at the end, uh, yeah, zero. They are rechargeable and zero maintenance for old people. Thank you, Happy Tiger. I know you're talking about me. I'm an old person. I'm an old people. But now, if they made a bull terrier robot, oh man, I would get one. Matter of fact, thank you for the idea. We've been kind of hoping that Forrest, our bull terrier, he's going to be 3 in April. We're kind of hoping he and our uh, feral cat friend that visits us daily, sometimes twice a day, Pumpkin, he feral orange cat. He uh, he and the last bull terrier, Kaika, they got along pretty good, almost like friends. They didn't cuddle or anything like that. They didn't play. They just kind of stared at each other and tolerated each other, but didn't. Kaika never chased after him. Uh, Forrest, he's met Pumpkin, so to speak, met him, seen him. When he was little, especially, he kind of trotted out after him, and Pumpkin ran away. But I think one of these robots. Yeah, you were. That's okay. I'm old, but at least I'm not so old that I can't figure out that I'm old. Um, but I think they're probably way too expensive. I'm cheap. I'm tight. That might be something for him to play with. But bull terriers are kind of known for destroying stuff, toys. Uh, my dog can, there are certain toys that last 5 minutes and they're done. Uh, he's kind of out of his free Costco box phase. That lasted for well over a year, and he'd go to town. Maybe 20 minutes worth of fun for him. Destruction, a lot of bending over to pick up cardboard for us. But yeah, I'm curious, but I bet you they're expensive. I would think. I don't know. I know uh, the new 20s, $100 now, right? I mean, everything. Some stuff, just a lot of stuff used to be $20. Now that same stuff seems like it's $100. And but I don't know. Maybe we've had dogs come over and visit. They get along really good. 11-year-old big golden retriever, and he's met some dogs out in public, but he's really good with dogs. Our first bull terrier was not. She was animal aggressive. She'd fake being nice and then just clamp onto anything that got too close to her. That's okay, Happy. I don't mind. But yeah, I have seen it's a little fuzzy thing. Maybe Yorkie kind, Yorkie-ish. Cute, cute as the devil. But I tell you, dogs are a big responsibility, and they're a 10 to 14 year commitment. That's why I don't. I didn't. We weren't planning on getting another dog after Ikaika died about 3 years ago. We had him about 11 and a half years. Got him as a puppy. Great dog. Um, had the nice pedigree too, although we didn't pay for that pedigree part. But but no, my wife come as a Saturday. I don't know, caught me at a weak moment. Said, oh, her brother called her. Said, oh, there's a bull terrier on. I think it might have been Craigslist. And so I checked it out. Said, oh, it was a miniature. Miniatures are cool. I called and $5,000. Thank you, no. But you know, in the process of kind of interviewing the breeder, I let her know, we had bull terriers for 40 plus years. Used to do rescue, blah blah blah. She mentioned that she had a standard bull terrier, which is anywhere from 35 to 60 pounds, that she had placed, and it didn't work out. She sold this dog for, I don't know, $3,000 to $5,000, and it didn't work out. So kind of treated him like a rescue, and I did give her money. That was the first time I gave money for a bull terrier since 1980 something, when we got our Makamai, our first bull terrier. And so it's turned out to be good. I think it was a kind of a blessing in disguise. Sometimes, God does things for me that I'm not able to do myself. So right place, right time. It's been a good experience, and they are pretty good at protecting their humans. And I'm out of the house for, I'd say, 10 hours. It's about a half-hour commute there and back. So there's an hour. I'm there for 8.5 hours. So 9.5 hours twice a week. So I like to have, I like the comfort of him being home, because all I got is an 88-year-old woman and a 65-year-old woman here. And, we're targets. Everybody's a target on this island for property crime. And heaven forbid if somebody's going to break into your house during the day, man, that's spooky, because there's a good chance someone's going to be home, right? So they don't care, and if they don't bring a weapon with them, they can, find something to accelerate it to a second-degree assault and or home invasion. Doesn't take much to bump a misdemeanor up to a felony. And when you're talking about against two or three humans that are over the age of 65, there's an additional charge for elderly crime, whatever. But yeah, that's good. So AI, we've covered AI. I don't know what else was I thinking about. If I ever get to the point where I can, do this laptop stuff easier, or do the screen thing like T-Square. I don't know if anybody knows T-Square. You ever? There we go. Oh, that guy. Locals have enough respect for your house to leave their shoes outside when they rob you. Yeah, they do. But we don't worry about that here, because, oh my gosh, these carpet remnants, I don't know from what decade they're from. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's funny. That is funny. And I don't know. But they're already just wearing, they call them slippers over here, rubber slipper. Back in the day, I think we called them thongs. They're the little thing with, you put it on, you slide into it, and one tab goes through you between your big toe and the toe next to your big toe, and they flop around, flip flops, slipper. That's right. I have a, well, Forrest has decorated my Crocs, and he's customized my Crocs and my one pair of slippers. That's flip flops. They just look like they've been chewed up by a dinosaur, but they still work. But I don't use them very. I'm just around the house. I don't drive in slippers. I don't wear slippers out in public. I wear. I've got some. I've still got a good, decent pair of Rocky boots. Rocky from it's originated in Ohio, not far from where I grew up. And I usually wear boots. Wear slippers in the house. Yeah, that's the kind of the fuzzy slippers, like Hello Kitty kind. I like those kind, but I don't wear them. I don't wear them anymore. Or I do mostly walk around in socks or bare feet. I read or found this stuff about grounding, so I do try at least once a day or a few times throughout the day walk around on the actual ground in bare feet. But I have what they call over here howdy feet. They're very sensitive, because I didn't grow up walking around without any shoes. We were poor, but I don't remember not having shoes. as a Ute. I do kind of remember my feet growing and somebody grumbling about, oh my gosh, again. But I was the youngest, and so mostly I wore hand me downs. I wasn't a fashion conscious child or youth or teenager. T-shirt and jeans when I was finally allowed to wear jeans instead of a kind of a dress pant, sort of dress shirt to school and whatnot. Yeah, no, I don't, not a big slipper fan out in public because I'm a prepper, and so I'm prepared to run. I'm prepared to kick, and I don't want to be doing any of that stuff in slippers or bare feet. So OTG, oh that guy, OG, number one with a crowd. When I lived on Maui, I only wore shoes to skate, otherwise barefoot. Yeah, skating. Talking about skateboarding. Um, yeah, skateboarding. I know local guys, man. They just got tough feet. They walk on lava rocks. That getting into the ocean to spearfish. Yep, skateboard. I was a horrible skateboarder. Matter of fact, occasionally we still laugh at the time that my skateboard went forward and what, or my skateboard went to the right, and I kept going forward down the street, and I was all scarred for life, brah. But I was a horrible skateboarder, no tricks or anything like that for me. But I did at one point I did ride a skateboard from just outside of Waikiki to a restaurant that I worked on. Like that was right after I got out of the service. But yeah, I'm not good at skateboarding. Uh, there's another thing. I just didn't stick with it. I didn't feel like the pain and the blood was worth it. Had an old wooden. It was a wooden one. I had a fancy name. I got it at Goodwill, most likely. I don't remember. I don't do a whole lot of stuff activity wise in bare feet. Swimming, although I've got a pair of, I'd call them surf shoes, surf slippers. They're more like a slipper, a slip on. No thongs or no little things that go in between the toes, and it does make it easier and less painful to enter the ocean. But we haven't been to the beach in a long time. Just too much life responsibilities. Um, God bless anybody there that's ever been a caregiver for an elderly person, especially if it's a relative. But I have been a caregiver for, I'm on my fourth and possibly final elderly person, unless both of us live into our 80s and we're going to be doing that with each other, or maybe have to have somebody. Maybe our nephews will have some kids by then that'll help us out. But it's it's not easy. It really isn't. I have great empathy for anybody that attempts to do that. I just did it out of necessity, and for especially for my dad, he was pretty much my best friend. Although we didn't talk about certain things, didn't talk about drugs or partying, or we really didn't even talk about uh, air quote precious metals. He instilled upon me the value of the silver content in coins back in the, I guess I was about 5 or 6 or 7 years old in 1965, when all of a sudden, you know, the dimes and quarters had this funny brown streak running through the side of it. But and then not too long after that, I got in the Boy Scouts, and I did get a coin collecting merit badge and a stamp collecting merit badge. So I learned a lot about sound money, real money, Ron Paul money. Probably, I don't know what time I was, but I was probably 1970, 69. So I was 10 or 11 by that time. That's why all my, other than I bought a roll of AU Roosevelt dimes. Uh, I'd always wanted one for SHTF trading post change making purposes, because I was a hardcore prepper. Now I'm just kind of a soft core prepper. Old habits are hard to break, but they I had, up until then, I'd never bought FaceTime, junk 90 constitutional silver, whatever. I don't want to offend people by calling it junk, but that's what they used to call it. And I think back then, I remember somebody saying 8 times, maybe 8 times face. I don't know if that rings a bell from the late 90s. When I first found coin shops, local coin shop. But I think I was just being obstinate. I actually bought a roll of 50 Golden State Mint 10th ounce rounds way back when. Coin shop guy had them. He had a whole bunch of them. And he hooked me up with a tube. I think there was 50 in them. Kind of like dimes. They almost looked like a American Silver Eagle on the front and a weedy penny on the back. Really cool. I got most of them. Gave a few away in my early channel creator air quote career. That's back when I was much friendlier than I am now to silver stacking strangers. So Maui is beautiful, or at least it was. I've not been to Maui since the fire. I've heard a lot of local gossip. What do they call it? Coconut wireless talk. Rumors, conspiracies, the whole 9 yards about those Maui fires. Probably the most interesting theory I ever heard was from a pretty knowledgeable, definitely seemed well entrenched into the subject of the fires. He was kind of pointing to the blame on the DC to AC process of solar panels running down from the mountains to some particular area where they think some of those fires started, where with the power lines went down like toothpicks, something happened and all that direct current just concentrated and went nuts. Because there was some kind of development, like a subdivision that was just Malka of it, mountain closer towards the mountains, that wasn't affected at all, and it was really, really, really close. Obviously, they were probably upwind of the fire, but yeah, Maui is beautiful. We've been to Maui one time together, my wife and I, and that was the first time my wife or I had ever been to Maui. And we've got relatives on Maui. We got like Auntie Grace, she was raised on Maui. Big Island, we got relatives on the Big Island, Maui, and Kauai, and connections on Molokai. So yeah, Maui's beautiful, man. It's kind of like three or four different islands, depending on which coast you were going up or down. I didn't play golf in Maui. I was golfing by that time, but not very well. I hadn't turned pro yet. I think I actually had a handicap, though. I was an amateur golfer. I think I was carrying a 20 handicap because I did play in a tournament on the Big Island and on Oahu. They were not natural fires. I really don't believe that. I don't know about the blue lasers from the sky. I forget, there was some kind of technical term that they called them, concentrated something or other, energy. I forget. I don't know about that because if I don't eyewitness it, I'm not sure whether I believe it anymore. But something was fishy, and I know that there was some really the big, big money powers that be kind were after that Lahaina area for decades. Always a controversy. Always picking on and yeah, part of Maui Village was kind of let go a little too long without renovations or safety upgrades and things like that. But there was a lot of talk well before those crazy fires. Happy Tiger's never been to Hawaii. Hawaii's okay. It's okay. If I were to, uh, you know, and I have had people on the mainland, get a hold of me and say, "Hey, what do we do? What's the best place to do this?" Or blah blah blah. There are lesser expensive ways to experience Hawaii if you're a budget traveler. Now, if somebody's got a ton of money, man, the sky's the limit here. You can do whatever you want. There you go. Directed energy weapons. Who really knows? I don't know. I mean, I'm I would call it there's what I call it. So there's conspiracy theorists and there's coincidences. Sometimes I think there's coincidence conspiracies. Just too much stuff, too much coincidence. Like 9/11, they were doing uh, testing and trial runs and stuff the day and the night and the morning of September 11th, 2001, which was pretty. That was the end of my golf career. That's when I realized, man, life's too short to be miserable. But yeah, dues. But anyway, so there are affordable ways to come to Hawaii. I'd call it kind of budget-ish. Um, but yeah, I mean it's beautiful. But I've seen videos of other places. Like only one advantage to Hawaii is it is still part of the United States. I don't know what kind of advantages that is to other people, other than the currency. You don't have to worry about a currency exchange or anything like that. I've been to the Philippines and Thailand, and I never paid attention to that exchange because my U.S. dollars and $5 bills and $10 bills, and heaven forbid a 20, made that mistake once. Uh, it just went way further if you use those. Especially if you found a local you could trust to go get you whatever it is you thought you wanted, and oh my god, you just get way bigger bang for your buck. And I think I forget what the currency, the exchange was. I think maybe 100 pesos per dollar, Filipino pesos, and maybe 80 baht, Thai baht. I forget. I did because I didn't pay attention to it. And I tell you, when I first landed on the beach in Thailand, I traded my one Fruit of the Loom Made in USA plain white T-shirt for 4 or 5 shirts made in Thailand. That was cool. One of them said F, the word F with Thailand, which that was before I was married. I sowed all my oats before I ever met my wife. Thank goodness. Hell, we've been together since before herpes, so I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Flew there on a $20 standby flight. Shut up with my backpack, my girlfriend, and no money. That is the way, and I did that. You remember World Airways? That is the way to do it. That standby, that was great. But there was no phones back then, was there? Could you do it with a phone? Did you have a fancy phone where you could find out what was going on? Yeah, that's the way to do it. A backpack, a girlfriend or not, and no money. Probably not a bad idea either. You're kind of, I don't know. I always considered myself prey when I first got here, and even worse than that, I had like a big neon sign stuck to me with my race and my really short military style haircut. No phones, pay phones and pagers back then. Yeah, I never had a pager. I thought when I first saw pagers, I thought that's the devil. I don't need that. And cell phones, I don't. There's phone booths everywhere, and that's back when they were a dime, I think. Uh, who needs that? I don't need to call anybody that important now. Although I didn't get my first smartphone until 2017, moved back here because it turns out you got to have a smartphone if you want to get a job over here, first of all. And then convenience wise, I have eased into a lot of convenient technology. Obviously, um, I'm still a fail at laptop, um, at certain kind of YouTube video streaming, videos making stuff. But I got my smartphone. I'm not a big fan of apps. I occasionally watch videos that teach you how to teach your phone not to spy on you. But occasionally I hit the wrong button or something rather. Might be a customer and I go to turn off the video that I'm watching too. I do have fancy earbuds, the wireless kind. I did figure out those, and I tested them this morning. I've actually, I think now I can use my new phone, which doesn't have a headphone jack, with my fancy earbuds. I upgraded instead. They don't sell earbuds for $9.99 anymore. Now they're all $13 and $15.99, the cheap ones. So I upgraded to the $13.99 earbuds that are got. It's really cool. flashy colors, blue and green and red when it's charging and stuff. They're okay. They don't fit me all that great, but there's some other little rubber gizzies I could maybe downsize the part that goes inside the ear. But I tested that this morning. It works. So probably the next video, I'm gonna. I wish there was a way I could figure out this. There probably is. I should probably check videos on how to make videos a la T Square. Yeah, I guess like that. I, on this small island, I don't want to be showing my face. It's not because I'm any uglier now than I was. Well, I am. I'm a lot uglier now than when I was 40 or younger, older. But I don't, the anonymity, I don't want some random person to recognize me on some silver precious metal video that I put out that showed basically my ID, my facial ID out there. And I just don't want to do that. I don't like, precious metals arriving to my house or any of that stuff. I'm doing away with my post office box because I'm kind of over that poker chip trading channel stuff. Although I got a shit ton of poker chips. They double shipped me and didn't charge me for the extra. So I think I probably got about 175 poker chips, SilverSleuth poker chips. No phones, no payphones, no pagers. I still find some payphone. They're not really booths, but they're kind of like a semi booth, kind of a third of a booth, but none of them work. There's actually a couple of them over at the Ko'olina Resort. They don't work. But yes, so now I have a smartphone. I have some apps. I do, and we split them up between my phone and my wife. My wife got a Phoenix version. Now she's into her phone, but she's not that knowledgeable about phone stuff either. But she can watch her Spectrum television, cable television on her phone, and I guess she can do it away from the house. And so I've got the modem and the router thingy for the internet here. I got a bank. Let's see. I don't have the bank app, my bank app on my phone, but it's on my wife's phone. I have one credit card I use, my cashback credit card. I have all my expenses are chargeable, so I put everything on that card, and I get a nice check in Marchish, February, Marchish. Comes with my Costco paper statement, which I still am a paper statement guy. And that's about it. I could do eBay from my phone if I wanted to. I don't anymore. And I did a lot of eBay. I know I've got over 1,000 positive seller feedbacks. I didn't buy a whole lot of eBay though, but I sold postcards and pottery and cast iron and knickknacks. And then sold off my ugly silver at the peak. It was just dumb luck, perfect timing, peak of the 2011 step up, whatever, parabolic. And then and by the time I was done counting the money from that, silver, a couple weeks later, a month later, it was, it dropped dramatically from 48 or 49. That was that. I mean, I didn't pay that close enough attention because I'd kind of paused any silver buying a couple years before that because of the price of it. I got what I needed, and turns out I got it while the getting was good, and I was happy with that because my reasons for hoarding silver was a lot different than most people's. Just mostly pure prepper stuff, and I guess now I can call it wealth preservation. But back then I was just thinking keeping money away from Uncle Sam because Uncle Sugar don't care about me. I learned that in the service. And I've always been leery to raise my right hand and sign anything since I did that. But like I said, if it hadn't been for the United States Navy, I never would have met my wife, and she's been the best thing ever happened to me. Probably saved my life. I don't know if I'd have made it out of the 80s without her kind of giving me a reason to be more responsible and kind of become an adult instead of just a partying fool. So AI. I think we covered AI. I haven't been buying a whole lot of silver none in 2026, and no gold either. I sold some junk. What do you call it? Scrap gold. That was a good experience. Didn't do anything with that money. He paid me cash. I know about five of them, five of the C notes, the $100 bills were the old kind, the kind before the colorful kind. And there was a point in my fiat stacking career where I decided I wanted to turn those into the more modern kind. I forget for what reason. Um, so I think I got 4 or 5 or 6 of the older $100 bill, and I got to figure out what to use those on. So if I were to go to the local coin shop, and I'd go to the one on the other side of the island, the windward side in Kaneohe, is the one in town, parking, driving, no thanks. And I've heard that they are not the greatest to deal with, and definitely not the best deal. Emperor Wang, I don't. Any of you folks familiar with Emperor Wang? He lives over here. When in one of somebody's chat, he mentioned that the Kaneohe local coin shop at one point was given was using a 55 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. That might have been at both of their peaks. Oh, that's interesting. But I really don't. I don't want to. If I were to, I want to convert some of my large silver into 1 ounce eagles. Don't have to be a proof. I mean, if I could get some of the proofs of the years that I don't have, which I think is probably going to be from maybe 2016 to 2024, because I got a 2025. And I thought I got my brains grossed out on that. I paid $97, $97.50 out the door for that, tax and everything. That took a couple cigarettes in the parking lot for me to. I mean, I go through buyer's remorse 2 or 3 times before I even spend $100 on anything. Sleuth brother, oh, that guy, got to take off and get to work. Good. Employment is grace. Nice seeing and talking to you. See you again soon. Take care, everyone. Oh, that guy, OG. Thank you so much. And not to not thank everybody else that's come in and stayed or gone. This is mostly an experiment, but it's kind of nice to have a sounding board for what's going on in life. And since I feel anonymous enough to talk about gold and silver, yeah, it does something. It touches something in my brain. But yeah, oh, that guy, OG, OTG, thank you so much. So what else? What was I going to do? Oh, so I was going to do a video about. I get a lot of junk mail. Anybody else still get junk mail? I get junk mail, and I hate it, but I kind of like it because I use the return envelopes, even on my statements. I get statements from anything. I still want paper statements, and so in the return envelope, I use the back of those. I use those envelopes for notebook paper because I am a tightwad. So this is from my Spectrum bill. Oh yeah, that's something I saved by switching plans from off of a plan had a bunch of premium channels that nobody here watches. I don't watch TV, so they weren't using these channels. It was costing me an extra $50 a month. I kind of knew that, but I was too lazy to deal with it at the time. I was sick, and so then they just bumped my bill again. And I thought, oh shit! I called them and I said, well, first of all, why is my bill up? And it's $5 here for this, $5 extra for that. Still got a landline. I got that through Spectrum. Saved a bunch of money off from Hawaiian Tel at the time and took the bill away from my in-laws, and they didn't mind that. Saved them $50 a month, and at that time when I signed up, it was $20 a month. In those 5 or 6 years since I've switched the landline to Spectrum, it's gone from 20, so I think it just got bumped up to either 30 a month. I think 30 or 35. All these little charges, they just add a little bit here and there. So I did manage to get that done this morning. I switched to Spectrum Choice. And so I tried a couple days ago, and they sent me an email, and it sounded like it was going to be real simple. I followed the link to pick these 15 channels so that I could sign up for the Spectrum Basic, Spectrum Choice versus Spectrum whatever premium, but it wasn't working. And I tried. I even installed the stupid Spectrum app on my phone. My wife's got it on hers, so she can do that remote TV watching. And when I mean remote, instead of watching it in the front room, she can watch it in the bedroom or anywhere else on the property, while my mother-in-law is watching some other Price is Right or Wheel of Fortune or something like that, or some Korean soap opera. And so I managed to get that done today. I saved a little bit of money, not as much money as I wanted to. I was hoping to save as much as my wife's soon to arrive monthly insurance premium for her supplemental plan that goes on top of the 202.90, $203 a month for Medicare Part B, because she turns 65 next month. And you have to have it. You can cheat, but when they catch you, they penalize you, and that penalty stays for life. And, if I put a dollar amount on that penalty, it would probably be, I don't know if you have to make up the months that you didn't pay for it, but it goes up by, oh man, it goes from, so for instance, it would go from $202.90 probably to $250 a month for the rest of your life. You never work off that penalty. Maybe there isn't a prorated grandfathered, like a back pay type thing that they would want. I just learned enough of that. I steer away from that kind of stuff. But if you get a job with an employer that provides health insurance, they have 20 or more employees. And that's what I do. And I even get it. I started 5 days a week, but I'm now down to 2 days a week. And they still, at only 17 hours a week, I'm still covered by this Hawaiian Medical Association, something or other. It's a health insurance. So legally, I don't have to pay for Part B. And even if I wait until I'm 70 something to not have employer health insurance, I don't have to go through underwriting in order to get back on the Plan B or a supplemental. And with her supplemental, I chose Kaiser Permanente. It's local, it's close, it's 6 miles from here. One-stop shopping. You can get a primary health care physician almost immediately, whereas it took me basically 6 years and a heart attack in order to be able to get a primary health care physician on my present insurance, because I didn't have one, because couldn't get it. It's almost impossible. At least for me it was. But I never went to the doctor. I didn't take pharmaceuticals or anything for 20 plus years. Then all of a sudden I'm on these cholesterol lowering. There was a statin, and there was a non-statin, and I wish I'd have been in my right mind to figure out this is what's making me so sick, so weak, and so much pain, and lots of upchucking and severe misery. On top of that, then I had a work injury that I was trying to rehabilitate through. So yeah, life is great, ain't it? Don't let me discourage you from keep on living, though. All two of you that are still in here. But thanks for the thumbs ups and stuff. I don't know what that does for me, other than, gives me a warm fuzzy inside my heart and my brain. Probably touches some endorphin trigger up there, with or without wearing a hat. So I was going to do it like this, but I'm going to have to do it with my phone. And if I'm going to have it with my phone, I might as well put some silver out there, because that silver catches my eye. Copper, all the arrays of people's videos. Whoa, that's neat. And it does cause me to pay a little bit more attention. FG, thank you, sir. Lunch is done. Back to work. Catch y'all later. FG Stacker, one of the hardest working channel content creators on the YouTube period, any genre. I mean, if he's not melting, he's had this trip around the world with collecting silver from every country, and sometimes countries that aren't even countries anymore. And now he's got a Part B or a Phase 2 and then a Phase 3, and he's got date runs and silver pouring and artistic. 3D printing. stuff. I mean, FG, he gone, but he got it down. So it's just me and somebody, probably Tiger. Maybe not. But I don't mind talking to myself. I do a lot of that anyway. Last night I was talking to myself. I had such bad chest pains. I was contemplating, if I get an emergency room, what do I got to do to get my wife ready, just in case I don't wake up from whatever it is they do to me. Um, so I already had a little talk with her this morning. I really want to buckle under, get her Medicare Kaiser stuffs taken care of today. We got 3 months to do it if we want to wait. And I want to teach her a little bit more about how to turn her silver and gold into expense money or what have you, and kind of a graduated sell off if she decided she want to do that. Try to avoid paperwork, avoid the IRS, avoid taxes and all that kind of stuff. But worst case scenario, if she just, let's say she needs whatever a tube of Eagles is worth, or a half a tube, so 10 silver Eagles. I want her to get to the point where she knows that's worth at any point in time. Now, and I haven't tried to, I've touched briefly on it, but I haven't tried to explain spot price and how chances are spot price means nothing. So you're going to go to the local coin shop, which is probably the safest and the easiest, with not a shit ton of silver, but enough, and to supplement her income or to pay for an expense, or maybe she just wants to draw down on her silver and gold stash and just be done with it. Because some people don't care. They're not interested in that. And she doesn't really have to worry about wealth preservation as much as I would if I wasn't married to her. But I want her to be. And so, yep, we've had that mini talk, and we're gonna have some more of that talk here over the next 48 hours. So I was gonna, what I entitled it? Okay, here's the plan. Anyway, I go into my opinion of this. So I must have written this. I didn't date it. I must have written this, I guess, before it hit 100 and something. The silver, before the price of silver hit 100, it went over 100, or maybe even really high for a while. But the local coin shops, if silver was $110 or $115, people couldn't go in. Or maybe they could in some places, but it didn't sound like you could go in and get, anything really, sometimes even close to spot price to sell your silver. Depending or not depending on what type of silver, whether it was a generic silver round, or an eagle, or a bar, or fractional this, that, and the other thing. Same thing with gold. Although I don't think gold was affected by that as much. Because like I said, I got 88% of melt on scrap 14 karat jewelry. I'd be fine with 80-90% on any of the gold that I've purchased in my life, because I don't dollar cost average or any of that stuff. I can kind of figure it out in my head real quick, and I'd have to have a DCA from before 2001, and then a DCA post from 2001 to 2016, and actually it'd be like 2001 to 2007, and then maybe 2012 to 2016, and then nothing until 2024. So we'd probably have to come up with about 3 or 4 different DCAs, but I can estimate. I can, swag, sophisticated, wild ass guess on what my DCA might be, but I don't care, because I know whatever I could sell it for, even at the lowest price, the price where a lot of silver channel people say, "Oh man, you got hosed. You got your brains grossed out." Not really, not for me, and I really do hope. This is regardless of my thoughts on the future of the USA, the United States dollar, any of that stuff. But I really do hope for everybody, no matter when they got into silver, that they lived long enough to the point where they are happy, not just satisfied, but happy with the results of their stacking, hoarding, collecting, whatever you call it. Um, me, my goal was to keep my gold and silver for 30 years or until the US dollar is turned into something else. For the longest of time, I've always felt deep, deep in the back of my brain that the dollar is destined to fail, maybe not crash. And I was probably more concerned with EMP type crashes than an actual dollar crash, an economy crash, because I've lived through some of those wrong times. Had great timing, just out of stupid luck. You know, I didn't do any of that .com stuff, so I missed all that. Actually, I was uh, buying gold and silver that .com area. I don't know when that was. I don't. It wasn't before the internet. I don't know when I got involved with the internet or eBay, but for other people. So I hope, whether that's another 30 or 40 years, let's say somebody's 20 something, like Giancarlo, there was a young guy, he just got into stacking. I feel like he got into stacking, maybe not at as good a time as other like boomers, but if you got into start buying silver and gold in, I don't know, say 2023, maybe after the COVID thingy, the cough. So when was that? 2019 to, you know, if you, the bulk of your purchases were then, and you've been stepping up in spending because the prices have gotten higher, I think you're going to be all right. And I hope, uh, you got another 20 or 40 years to sit on your stack or decide what you want to do with your stack, whether it's to flip it to make a air quote profit or to increase your stack. I understand how that stuff works. I did it in the antique business. You buy 3 barrister bookcases at auction and you sell one of them. It's like you get 2 barrister bookcases for free if you got the right retail price on. I know how that stuff works, but I've been through that stuff with golf equipment and golf balls and hot dogs and concessions and furniture and pottery and natural herbal essence, mind enhancers, all that kind of stuff. I know how all that stuff works. I'm just old and lazy. Don't care anymore. But so I hope everybody's got another 20 or 40 years or longer to figure out what is just absolutely perfect. And so I guess I'm getting ready to sign off soon. So I just want to let you know if I figure out how to post this as a public video, I wish everybody the very best that they wish for themselves and their family and any of their priorities or hobbies or activities, and definitely health and spiritualism. Wow, I'm almost getting a little teary-eyed. Not really, just kidding. So I don't think there's going to there. I don't think it's, I have seen videos. Oh, of course I know people put words in their thumbnails and in their titles to get people to click. And it's worked on me a couple times. Just sometimes just to click on it to see if it's as nonsensical as I think it sounds. And sometimes I'm right. But I don't think so. When I see these confiscation subject videos for when it comes to precious metals, I don't think it's going to be a confiscation. I think it's going to be more of a consolidation into a new something or other. Uh, Central bank digital currency, tokenizations. There's a handful of different um, opportunities or theories out there, but I don't think they're going to confiscate. Matter of fact, I think, of course, it depends on what's going on in Washington D.C. And for right now, until the midterms, I think there's a reality right now, somewhat of a reality right now that might change abruptly after the midterm elections in the United States. And I know there's a big world out there outside of North America and my little itsy bitsy part of the United States stuck out here in the most remote section of the Pacific Ocean ever. So I understand that, but once President Trump got back in the White House, I knew that all this stuff was coming. That volatility in the markets, and the precious metals markets and commodities, and civil strife. Is that a good word? The left versus the right. Um, but I just kind of figured that, and I've had this view, but the higher silver goes, gold will keep a pace. I'm not a big GSR. I don't use GSR as a strategy to buy or trade or sell or anything like that. But I'm figuring, and I know back in the day it was 16 to 1 or whatever. That was then. This is now. This internet. This is silver industrial. Gimme period in time era. But maybe keep a 50 to 1 pace, and the silver gets to, I used to say the higher silver goes, the closer we get to a U.S. dollar reset of some sort. I guess it could be tokenization, digital, uh, could just be a new dollar bill. I'm surprised they haven't done it already in order to get back all the. You ever seen news articles about Arab sheiks and drug cartels that have pole barns full of stacks and stacks and stacks of $100 bills, stacks and stacks of $10,000, $100 bill packs stacked to the ceilings? Uh, I thought that they would try to get the cash back, or make the cash that those entities home, the pimps, the prostitutes, the politicians, to kind of stick them with worthless paper on purpose. And maybe the boomer or the grand folks that have too much money in the bank don't get, royally screwed. But in some form, uh, just a switch of some kind, whether, like I said, whether it's CBDC, uh, all that kind of stuff. And then so after these last few months, where all of a sudden there was just a plethora of AI based um, videos on everything, but specifically on precious metals, and also seemed like a coordinated campaign by news outlets as well. Um, I figured, wow, that's a sign of some sort. So I was thinking they're going to step silver down until every weak hand is given up after the big run, uh, and run away from their silver, give up, but give the people that got in at the higher number a chance to have second guess themselves. And oh man, maybe they went out, in the past month or so, and they bought 10 ounces of silver for $1,000, which used to, some people only paid not much for that thing, $50, $70. So I think people are going to have a chance to second guess themselves on any of the higher price purchases, and then on the way back down, I think they're going to start stepping silver down. I think it could possibly happening right now with this, taking advantage of news stories, Epstein stories, Chinese Lunar New Year stories. By the way, Hun Hi Fat Choi, to anybody that might be close by that understands that. I understand it because I got two Hawaiian Chinese women 30 feet away from me at all times, practically, and I'm surrounded by it. But I think now's the time they might be stepping down until every weak hand is given up, and then they might, and like I said, run away from their silver and the whole concept of precious metals. Maybe not so much gold, but definitely silver. And then once that price is bottomed, I don't know whether it's at 85, 75, or maybe even as low as 50, uh, some financial black swan's going to be the catalyst to possible silver legislation that, again, I don't think will be called confiscation. I think it will be some kind of consolidation. It's possible, and wouldn't this be nice? And it's hard to think that it would, because I think it would be good for the average person, the average stacker, not these elites that think their shit don't stink. But I think it might be an opportunity where silver could be used as collateral in certain transactions, whether that's sort of real estate or other investments. And that's a way for the government to get the industrial silver that they need for whether it's military or financial reasons, which will also be kind of like collateral, and without screwing the little guys and gals, like all of us, pretty much. I mean, there seems like there's some elite money guys that have silver channels, but predominantly, we're all, it's kind of regular. Although I think having any silver puts you ahead of 95% of the rest of the United States population. So again, I'm thinking it's consolidation, not confiscation, a way to get the silver out without screwing us all. And then with industry kind of at that point satiated and confident in their future inventories, that might, I think it might eliminate the demand to have your independent dealers, your independent bullion dealers, aka local coin shops. And again, that's the U.S. dollar is going to be digitized or tokenized, and bank accounts filled with all these boomer savings in their checking and savings, getting 0% interest. Those will be converted into the next air quote money. That's just my thought. And if silver does get back up to 100, every other video is going to say, yeah, it's going to within the next 3 months, and then you got to balance that against the other 50% of the videos that say, oh no, it's not only going to go, it's going to crash to 50, but even beyond. I think once it starts getting back up to 100, I think a lot of owners will take $10 and back a spot, thinking that they dodged, they got a second chance to dodge the second bullet of a big crash. Who knows? Who really knows? But, well, I think it's been 2 hours and 2 minutes. I'm going to stop. So whoever's in here, it looks like one person is, although that might be me. If it's Happy Tiger 8, I hope your day is just, although let me see. So you're Pennsylvania, so it's 5:07 p.m., 17:07 for you. I think it's spring forward, fall back. Spring forward. I don't know. No, we haven't sprung forward yet. So, yeah, so it's 17:08. I'm here. All right. So is it about 7:08 p.m. where you're at in Pennsylvania? Probably. I think so. I think you're Eastern Standard Time. Because I know Ohio is. Indiana gets a little weird. Indiana got a little bit of Central and Eastern going on, depending on where you're at in the state. But you have a good evening. Thank you so much for sticking in this long. Whether you've been AFK or not, don't matter to me. It's nice to have somebody to talk at. 5:08. Oh, 5:08. Yeah, okay. Yeah, 17:08. Sorry, I'm a 24-hour military clock looker at her. But you have an excellent evening. I hope everything's going great with your family. And I know you're going to be running out of, so what is this, February? You still might have some opportunities to take some photographs of some pretty decent snowfalls. I know we've had back in Ohio, back in the day, throughout my history, I think April, we've had, snow in April that covered the grass, stayed there for a little bit, not too long. I think, yeah, we've had snow as late as April before in Ohio. So depending on where you're at in Pennsylvania, and most of Pennsylvania is kind of, what do you call that, latitude, similar to central Ohio, central and northern Ohio. West Virginia is kind of on the cusp. They're a little bit south. But I wish you the very best. Thank you so much for being here. When I do watch some of your drumming videos, it does kind of makes me hanker for maybe pulling my guitar out a little bit more often than I do now. I know I'd have to relearn a lot of the songs that were my goals to learn when I first started playing guitar, like the Beatles songs, Rocky Raccoon, Blackbird. Blackbird was fun. Probably Snow on Sunday. See, there you go. Man, I am so glad. I miss the winter months, the hunting modes, 48 degrees. Well, that's not too bad. But hey, if you're not happy with it, just wait 5 minutes. It can change, yeah. Um, but I don't miss the ice dams on the roof. I don't miss slush, driving in slush. I don't miss the great big icicles hanging from the ice dam or the gutters on the side of the house, precariously a little too close to, where your vehicle might be parked, or something of values down there, or chance of injury. Don't miss that part of snow. I don't miss the American Electric power bills in the winter months, and I try to mitigate that stuff as much as possible with weatherproofing, good windows, double pane windows, insulation, and all that stuff. But there's just it was a big house. First of all, it's just really hard to keep up with that when it's below 30 degrees outside, with or without a wind chill. Nice, playing one song. Well, that was my goal, was to play Rocky Raccoon under a tree with my wife and a dog. And so I did that. So Fender was probably started playing guitar. Was in the golf business. I was at my first assistant position. So that was in the early 90s. One of my bag room attendants, guy's name was John. He was a retired dude. They used to get members come in. It was a private club. Members come in. They'd sign up to play golf, whatever. And we had a storage facility where they could keep their clubs and their shoes and stuff. They had a clubhouse where they kept their shoes, but we had a club storage for them. And so John was having a yard sale, and I just casually overheard him, and I was just at that point venturing into antiques and collectibles and stuff like that. So I was going to yard sales and auctions by that point, in what very little free time that I had, because I did play a lot of golf back then. He mentioned he had a guitar, and I said, well, I'd be interested in looking at that. He said, how much? He said, to you, nothing. I give deals on golf equipment and balls and shirts and stuff like that, personal use discount. And so it was a American-made Fender acoustic, but I think it was officially a classical guitar, because it had nylon strings for the low E. I think was a nylon string. One side. Eric and Dwayne got the blues early, so that's how I remembered the string. And so it was on one side or the other. I can't remember. But I've got to buy a guitar. And I won't buy a brand new one. I see them occasionally in my job, but I don't. But I still got my ukulele, and not a whole lot of. I mean, there is a difference. There's only 4 strings, but I can take guitar tablature. That's where they show you where to put your fingers on which fret and where on the and the sequence of strumming and whatnot, pull-offs, slides, things like that. It's kind of like read music for dummies. And I can apply. That's how I did it. Once I learned the guitar chords, I just kind of applied them to the ukulele, and then I discovered, you can get information, sheets of ukulele chord charts and things like that. So I graduated into it. I knew instantly that I was not ever going to be very good at this, but I was. I like the sound of ukulele too, and I don't like the cold. I was talking to a guy about, because when I first started learning, I said, man, I really suck. He says, don't worry about it. Just stick with it. And yes, it's true. Somebody that's gifted might be able to pick up, learn a new song. Probably use Blackbird as an example, and you're going to have it down in 5 minutes, just down pat. It might take you a month. And he was pointing at me, telling me, it might take you a month, but at the end of that month, or 2 months, or whatever, you're going to be able to play it just as good as that gifted person. and that kind of gave me a little bit of motivation and kind of stick to itive, like inspirational talk motivation to continue, because I was really horrible, and plus it hurt my fingers so bad, the tips of my fingers. Oh my, on my left hand, because I'm right-handed. But I did notice that once I started learning how to play guitar, uh, needed to pace myself, promise myself I'd do minimal 20 minutes of whatever it might be, just learning new chords or chord changes, and just 20 minutes minimal. And I usually always the session would last longer than 20 minutes. A lot of times it would last, especially at the beginning, until I just couldn't stand the discomfort on the tips of my fingers. So that gave me a, what you call it, you can't, I'm telling you. And little, but I did notice once I started practicing like that, that my left hand was much stronger, and a stronger left hand. If you're right-handed, a stronger left hand comes in. It's a benefit to golf, because especially if you're tired, and almost all working golf professionals are always tired because you work so many hours. So when you're tired, your dominant side has a tendency to take over, and that's so for a right-handed person that's right-handed, especially if they're right eye dominant, the right side's going to want to naturally take over in periods of fatigue, and you really want your left side, your non-dominant side, the lead side towards the direction you want your ball to go. You need that to be a little bit more in control, kind of like a 55% to 45% as far as which side is going to be mostly responsible for having a successful ball striking session, a golf shot. And yeah, I noticed that. Good for golf and something else. Yeah, something else I can't remember. And I actually mentioned it to myself, even in a video or in a chat. I forget already. My brain just ain't there no more. But yeah, the finger pain, and then a little bit of arthritis issues, because that's been 20 something years. Um, I'm probably going to have to deal with some of this, the regular, oh, I didn't really do anything. Why is my hand sore? But then I think, oh, maybe it's when I did this, or, maybe when I moved a tote from one part of the house to another, or when I took apart a hospital bed, in order to make more space for a visitor that's coming in from a different island or whatever. Many times I hurt myself, and I don't realize I'm hurt until way after whatever it was that I hurt myself doing. And what's most aggravating is just hurting yourself in while you sleep. All right, everybody's gone. Thank you, Happy. It's 2 hours and 13 and 15 seconds. So thanks. I'm just going to sign off with. I noticed some people have kind of adapted this into their spiels, but get what you can while you can, when you can, while you still can, at the best price you can, without neglecting other priorities, obligations, and advancement. There's Happy Tiger. It looks like I'm going to have another person. I was just doing my send off with my byline send off spiel geared towards silver and gold. And I know you're just a really loyal follower, subscriber, fellow YouTube family member. You too. Yeah, so it's 12:19. Yeah, I got me a little. I've still got my to-do list is non what you call this, YouTube, non-YouTube checklists are to-do lists. They're pretty intense today, but I got until Friday morning at 0600 to get a lot of stuff done, and then I leave for work at 0700, and then I got 2 days of hoping I can get through those shifts so that I can sleep Sunday. All right, Tiger, thank you so much. Aloha, and I will be back to YouTube before people know it. All right, then. Take care. I wonder what this does. Oh, it does nothing. cancel. Ooh, customization. I guess I'm going to stay for a little bit longer and touch some buttons that I didn't want to touch while I was, what you call it. So what does pop out dashboard mean? I want a JFK $50 from another channel. That's great. I really don't. That's one of my favorite coins. I know that, 1964 has a lot more silver than 65 through 70, and then after 70. And there's some special ones that the mint makes, but I just think that JFK coin itself it's one of my favorite looking coins, and all that adds in the sentimental value because I grew up in a JFK uh, Democratic Catholic household, up until probably the age of 10. And so there, there's a picture of Jesus, Grandma, Grandpa, and JFK, in those real nice frames. Yes, God bless you, and He has, and I am, and I know He's blessed you as well. All of us, a lot of people, everybody's blessed without knowing it, in my opinion. Sometimes they don't know about it. So we're going to find out what pop out dashboard does. Nothing special. Got a little new rectangle up here. Oh, stats. Concurrent viewers, chat rate, 17 views. Yeah, that's just stats. That doesn't help me do what I want to do. Channel level settings. Let's touch that. Yeah. Use default overlay. The default overlay will provide a countdown for the duration of the break you choose. This overlay will need to be integrated to your third-party encoder to work. The overlay will appear when ads aren't available. Learn more. No. Choose from your videos. Let's try this one, see what happens. Videos must be public. Oh my goodness, what the heck? Videos must be public or unlisted. Web, WBOC. Oh, hey, OC's back. All right. Let me see. Videos must be public or unlisted and allow embedding. Premieres, members only, monetized videos, and those with copyright strikes are ineligible. I don't apply to any of that. I got no members, no monetization. So let's see what happens here. Interesting. I'm going to just pick the first one. That's all I got. Less than a minute long. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm going to save it and see what happens. Oh, use this URL to add the overlay into your encoder. Copy this URL in your encoder, add a browser source, paste URL and adjust with height to stream resolution. Enable shutdown source when not visible. Click OK. And that's it. You're good to go. I'm going to touch that and see what happens. Uh-oh. YouTube Live Apps. Oh, I don't think anything's happening on this page. Nope. Let's X out of that. See what happens. Nope. Okay, I'm back to here. I'm going to close before going live. Test the overlay. Okay, before going live. All right, that didn't do anything. No sending feedback. What goes on up here? That's just, oops, what's that do? Expanded menu, expand, that doesn't do anything. Edit, no, tried that already. Let's see, what does this do? Okay, choose what to share your studio.youtube.com. Yeah, that's a 4 little Voltaires. They look silver, probably pewter. I've had that for a long time. It has a nice, it's not an obnoxious wind chimes. There's some around here that are a little obnoxious. As a matter of fact, I can look up and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other wind chimes that I can see from here besides that one, which is a little bit more out towards the edge of the eave. And so it gets a little bit more wind. But it's not. I don't think it's obnoxious. I kind of don't pay attention to it anymore. It's like the roosters. Okay, so here we go. Choose what to share with studio.youtube.com. There's some happy faces going on. Smiley faces, laughy faces. What faces? That's got to be Tiger. Or it could be Omega, OC Omega stacking. Let me see, he's back. He got a new mail called video just uploaded. Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I've been kind of just experimenting, touching some buttons. When I'm done here, OC Omega Stacker, because I'm subscribed to you, and when I look at the one, I guess it'd be like my homepage. For some reason, maybe it's because you were the last video channel that I checked out. You're at the top. So I'm going to be looking for a mail call video. I've actually got some mail call videos that I really should do out of really common courtesy towards the people that sent me some stuff. Let me see. There's a guy called My Silver Journey. I used to enter. I feel guilty about entering those giveaway thingies now because I rarely did it, but when I did, I kind of always seemed like I won. Maybe not as much as Bellows Forge, who's he's like oh my gosh, he's just really good at that. But I started feeling guilty about it, so I don't enter giveaways too much. Actually, not at all. I know Dub C has one going on. I'd love to have something that OC owned at one time, or a channel round or something like that. But I just because I'm not in the position to reciprocate. Not that I don't have stuff because I did at the beginning. It was pretty good. I probably sent out, I don't know, maybe a dozen or a couple dozen poker chips. But I won this microscope thing. I hope it's not super expensive. But so that, and then I think maybe FG's. Maybe I even owe FG something. I had a little. I was keeping track of it for a while, but then, heart attacks and back injuries and near-death experiences and eye surgeries. Sometimes it takes away from my concentration just to be able to get through the day as opposed to do all that other stuff. But yeah, I'm going to watch her as soon as I'm done. But I'm going to start touching some buttons here because I got. So this is choose what to share with studio.youtube.com. The site will be able to see the contents of your screen. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know who's going to be the site. Studio.youtube.com. Well, this is Metals Daily. Okay, that's a Microsoft. So this is a window. Ooh, what is that? Maybe that's what I was after. Entire screen. Holy cannoli. What is that? I'm going to try it. No, that. All of a sudden that one, no, that's probably not. Oh, I touched it. All right, I'm going to try to share this. This is my screen. I don't think that's what I really want, but I'm going to try just oops. There it goes. Bye. Oh, there it is. Oh, ho, ho. How about that? All right. Does anybody else see that? Or is that just on my end? It looks like it's some kind of, I don't know, picture within a picture within a picture within a picture with picture, infinity. Oh, that was kind of cool. Feel free to share on your channel. Thank you. Nobody listens to me, but I do. I know how to do that. Let me see. You hit share, and then they give you a chance to write a little kind of like a plug for the channel that you're putting out there. I think I did one for Happy Tiger actually really early. She was one of her early days. Yeah, I forget already, but no, that's kind of neat. Okay, you can see it. Go on forever. Yes, thank you. All right, so I don't know what to do with that, but that kind of looks like that be what I'd want to do. I'm going to go back and see, stop sharing, see what happens. Okay, that was a fail. Whoop, no, get back here. No. So I'll try that edit thing again. Maybe, is that the button I pressed? Maybe. Details. Customization? No, wasn't it. So I forget what button I touched to get to there. Rats. Ooh, maybe it was this one. Okay. So there's a kind of like a rectangle with an up arrow in it. So select, so that one was entire screen. So now I'm going to try to find window and see what happens there. Oh, that's basically the same thing. Entire screen, window. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Share. Oh, okay. Maybe not. That is not what I wanted. Stop sharing. Sharing a window. Or maybe that is. Can I make that? What do you call that? Minimize that one? Okay. Kind of, sort of. Not really. I can't refresh it. Like, comment, subscribes, and share. Explore. What that? That is. Let me see. So I was trying to figure out what. Okay, so when I was trying to figure this out, so occasionally, and I do watch quite a bit of Salivate Metals. So mostly on his lives, he does this, has this technique where he can make a screen like this show up, and he talks about spot price and stuff like that. And so I saved this before I even started this experiment to see if I could do something like that. Not quite as elaborate, but I've noticed on like T-Square, sometimes at the top of the screen that I'm looking at, you can tell it's his screen, but it has like maybe, I don't know, 10 or 20 tabs, I think they're called, of pages that he's saved. And then throughout his video, he's got a system where if he wants to talk about whatever, the Shanghai markets, or he finds articles, and so he must touch those tabs. Hopefully he's got a cursor. My cursor on this laptop, it only comes and goes every once in a while. I felt like I managed to resurrect it a couple times, but then one day it just disappears. And I only use it to touch the skip button when I'm trying to watch a video and go to sleep, because that way I don't have to reach all the way up. I can just reach on the keyboard. The keyboard works fine, but not the cursor. What do you call it? That little mouse pad thingy on the laptop. So anyhow, well, that's, at least that's different than what I had before, which was nothing. It was like a blacked out microphone icon, kind of big. So, well, at least that's progress. So I'm gonna stop sharing and see what happens. Okay, so now that I remember, I'm gonna touch this button again. Microsoft Edge tab. Let's see what that does. Okay, so if I do that, I'm gonna try to share that. Oh, stop. I don't know if that worked or not. Let me go see if I can get back. Okay, so edit. Let me see if I can add another window. Nope. Cancel that. Let me try this again. Oh, nope, there's an X on there now. So I don't know how they did that. I'm going to hit that. Oh, nope. Share live stream. No, don't want that. There's a mosquito. What are you doing? It's only noon. Come here. Die. Oh. Boy, that thing's a beast. 3 watching. How about that? Yeah, I don't know. Is there a way to tell who's in, but maybe not talking in chat? I don't know. I doubt if I feel like I've advanced quite a bit just to be able to hit the wrong buttons. So Let me see if I hit edit. What does that do? Absolutely nothing. Oh, that's no good. Cancel. Uh, I know what end stream will do. Let's see through watching. I don't know. I don't either, OC. Um, this is why I don't try to, just because I don't trust cryptocurrencies or probably most in particularly the most popular one seems to be Bitcoin. There's a couple people, well, basically one. It used to be a gold and silver, mostly a gold channel, and kind of he's kind of like a shock jock almost. When it comes, instead of being on the radio, he's on the YouTube, and so now he's totally gone into crypto. I'm not going to mention any names because I liked him when he was very sarcastic, but I'm not knowledgeable enough to debate or really even discuss cryptocurrencies other than what probably the below average IQ layperson such as myself could talk about it. Yeah, I don't know either, OC. I'm going to try this X because that's the one that got me. I'm sure that's going to stop it. Yeah, that stopped that. So how is that? Almost looks like a phone with an X through it or a slash. Well, none of that's working. So I think I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board. It's possible. I should write this down. Let me write down a note. I got me a new, who sent me this free notepad envelope? Oh, I think this was a health insurance thingy. So to do, YouTube, search videos for laptop help. I have watched a few. I'm a smart person. Yeah. I've watched a few where I think they're called reaction videos. I think I watched a video where just probably 20 something year olds are first being exposed to a certain rock band like Led Zeppelin or Robin Trower, different old time rock artists, and or even the Carpenters, Karen Carpenter. I think I saw a reaction. And they're kind of neat, and it's kind of like the picture within a picture in a picture. So they're watching the video, and everybody's watching the video of the artist performing, and then you have a little picture in a picture, them reacting to it, or it could be vice versa. It's been a while since I've seen one of those. That would be kind of cool, but I'd rather be able to put my little picture down there, whatever it might be. It might just be my channel logo. And then the rest of the screen being what I want to talk about and maybe share or quiz other people. Has Been Told is a really great show. You need to watch. It's so good, great music and amazing animation. Probably make me jealous, but I'm sure I'd be entertained. I'm going to jot that down. Has Been Hotel. I like that name. Has Been Hotel. Yeah, I could. And thank you, OC Omega. So yeah, this I think I've kind of run out of buttons to touch. To be honest with you, no problem. My pleasure. Thank you. Now there was a couple other choices I could have picked. One said webcam. That's the one I picked. And then the other one, I think the top part looked like a broadcasting symbol icon. That was stream, something stream, streaming. I don't know how it's been. Excuse me. It's been 2.5 hours. No wonder I can't remember. And then there was what looked like a little flip calendar icon, but I forget what they were. So the next time I try to experiment, I should probably do this at an hour where nobody's really going to show up. Or maybe, oh, you know what? I think you can make it private. Maybe that way I could kind of make a fool out of myself, but only I get to see it. Yeah, I don't know. But, worst case scenario, I think my experiment earlier this morning, non-published, I just basically hit record on my phone, my new phone, and used my new wireless earbuds to see if I could hear myself talking on the video from 20 feet away, because that won't work with the phone, the phone microphone, I guess. The kind that you use when you're actually talking to somebody on the phone, which I don't do a whole lot. When I called Spectrum this morning, I was using the landline because my account's attached to that, and I thought it might help me, kind of move up in the customer service line a little bit, possibly. But I end up trying that option. Call me back in 6 to 9 minutes if I press 1 a couple times, and I did that, and it actually worked. They called back probably within 6 to 9 minutes. And the gal that I spoke with this time was in Wisconsin. Very pleasant, polite, professional, and prompt. Last time, a few days ago, when I called and got sent the email that didn't work, the link that didn't work, that gal was in Heath, Ohio, which is about 15 miles from where I grew up, in a itsy bitsy town on the other side of the interstate from Heath. Um, from 6th grade until 20, well, 18 when I joined the service. 18. But that's cool. So, we got 2 peoples in here. Probably Tiger. She's just so great. And OC Omega Stacking Channel. Man, look at that. Look at number 1 and number 2 crowns. I don't know what that means. But, top fans. I see that. Oh, neat. Let me touch that button. That's one button I haven't touched yet. There they are. I don't know what 150 XP means. I don't know if that goes towards any awards or anything like. Oh wow! Bradley Osmond come in and I missed him. Maybe he must have said something. Oh, I'm sorry, Bradley Osmond. I remember Bradley from back in the day. When I say back in the day, 15, 16, 18 months ago. That's cool. That was a good button. So how do I get out of that? Oh, there we go. I wonder what this thing does. Holy mackerel. What is this? Moderation activity, participants. I'm going to touch that button. Oh my goodness, I just found out how I can find who's either just in the chat or in the channel completely. I'm going to try something else. All right. I just figured out how to turn happy into blue, and I'm going to do that to OC Omega Stacking if it'll let me. Why won't it let me do that? Add as moderator. All right. Cha-ching. Hello. Hey. Sometimes touching buttons doesn't suck. So I got OC Omega and Happy Tiger. My only 2 blue. You guys are the Blue Man group. And I know you're not a man, Happy. The blue person group. Remember that, man, guys? I think it was predominantly men. They either painted themselves in a real thick coat of blue latex and did some kind of performance on stage. I think they were famous. Kind of, sort of, for, I don't know how long. I don't know. They didn't last as long as some, even overnight successes, one-hit wonders. Some people have done really well with just one song, one correct performance at the right time. I do remember MTV. Are you old enough to remember MTV, Tiger? I don't know if they do reruns of MTV or not. I guess that was kind of neat. I didn't have a whole lot of time to watch TV at all growing up. MTV, yeah. They had a neat logo. One of their, I guess, VJs, her name was Kennedy. I don't know if that's her real name, but I think she's actually a political commenter now on one of one of the TV shows, probably Fox. You're old. Yeah. um, I guess age is relative to how you feel. I, I, I don't take offense, but when people tell me, "Oh, you're only as old as you feel," I'm so, oh my goodness, you don't want to feel as old as I feel. But cool. All right. Well, I learned something. Awesome. Thank you so much. Um, that was cool. Kind of feel powerful now. But I'm starting to get some side eye from my significant other of almost 47 years. Now I can say that because we're within, what is it? What month is this? The second month? October. So 2, 10. No, so I can still go with 46 plus. Yeah. Awesome. It's continuous, mind you, consecutively, which I think is pretty strong. But well, thank you so much again. I think at 2:41:05. How about that? Um, I think I think I think I would be considered gregarious in real life, maybe not this virtual life. Um, but I'd much rather talk than type. Well, this has been good for me, but I do have some chores to do, and I've got my to-do list, stuff that's going to save me money and is going to ensure my wife's ability to seek medical help without paying out the nose. I'm going to be donating some money to Uncle Sam and the Social Security Medicare system. I guess, you know, it's like fine print. Some fine print, you can't change it. You just might as well sit back and enjoy it and make the best of it. So I don't want to spend another $250 a month on insurance, but you got to have it, even penalty or not. It's like fire extinguishers. So I've probably purchased, I bet you at least a dozen fire extinguishers between work and home in my lifetime as an adult. And I've never used a fire extinguisher on a fire, ever. And I think I've only used a fire extinguisher once or twice, and that was probably just to test it to see if it still worked. Because they get dusty, the little dial gets dusty, and you can't. Well, should I touch this, or can I put the toggle pin back in there and maybe reuse it someday? Or, of course, if you're not smart, and you do it inside, you make a mess. Or if you do it outside and the wind's blowing the wrong way, you make a mess. And, yeah, but apparently, supposedly, you're supposed to have a fire extinguisher. And I know I've purchased a fire extinguisher when I was trying to learn how to smelt and pour silver and or gold, because I was dealing with pressurized gas, MAP gas. I also had a kind of a propane tank, thinking that I was get smart and use the propane to keep my mold warm enough. So before I did any of that fire starting, turning, torches on, I went and got a new fire extinguisher, because the one that I had access to here was at the very least 8 years old, and I didn't trust it, and I didn't feel like taking it in the backyard and testing it and making a mess. Some of that stuff might not be good for some of these delicate tropical flowers and plants that I need to get caught up on. I've been neglecting because of my back. Gardening's tough on the back enough as it is. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I do have on one of my deep to-do lists. Before I let you guys go, yes, it is. I have a list of plants and herbs that I want to get. Yeah, it's nice to have sage and rosemary and basil and parsley handy, and it's definitely, I don't like buying that stuff at the store if I can grow it. But I'm seeking mosquito and housefly type deterrent plants. And so rosemary is supposed to be good at that. Sage, basil, citronella. I've heard about that. I haven't had great luck with that. Marigolds, but with marigolds, I'm going to have to use my copper sink to keep the slugs and snails off of that. I mean, I lost 144 really nice looking marigold seedlings, with blooms overnight, out of ignorance and probably neglect to figure out that snails and slugs will eat the tops off of your marigolds. And marigolds, why was I growing marigolds? Because I wanted to kind of get a leg up on the other insects that are everywhere on this island. Because marigolds in Ohio, probably same thing in Pennsylvania, they're good to grow around your vegetables that you're growing because they keep away certain pests like whiteflies and things like that. So, not if slugs and snails can get to them. And one thing I knew before I found these stacking channels, before I ever thought about copper in any way other than throwing the 90% coppers in a drawer for prosperity's sake, was that I found out that copper is somewhat of a repellent to snails and slugs. There's something when they cross over copper, whether it be a copper zinc side, copper tape, I've heard is good at that. And there are people that actually take 90% pennies and tape them around certain things to keep the slugs and snails away from whatever it is that they want to protect. And I've got a list of them. There's some that I'm missing. Oh, and I definitely want to grow more green onions. And I just love the smell of basil, but I also like basil, and especially Thai food. I feel like my wife makes all kinds of food from scratch. She's pretty good at. She's really good at, especially a lot of the Asian dishes, whether it be Chinese, Japanese, Thai, Korean. She's good at all that stuff, and she's an excellent baker. Although she's not. Cilantro. Cilantro is good. Um, so yeah, because now that I'm somewhat recovered and I'm spending more time, almost all my time is spent outside. Um, the skeeters and the flies have been pretty intense this. Uh, Technically, it's winter, but it's a rainy season between. It's like the end of November and the beginning of April. Or maybe somewhere in March. It tends to rain a lot, and I'm so close to the mountains anyway on Oahu that every morning there's always going to be usually always some moisture, but not like this sideways rain that causes me to use a squeegee and put down towels for concrete damming. And yeah, good fun, but I prefer not to do all that stuff. So, but yeah, the skeeters and flies have been really intense, and they seem more belligerent than they have in the past years. But I'm not scared of DEET. Deep woods off, repel, uh, those kind of, even 100% DEET, although I hear it's not good for you. But it don't bother me. And, if I were to break out in a rash or something like that, I think I learned accidentally that I don't want to get it on my lips. OC Omega, you know what? You're something else. Thank you so much. I tell you what I'd like to do someday, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it because I'm not good with that with apps. But I like it when people have a live stream and you can invite on a guest. Next thing you know, so sometimes I've seen them, and I've done it. I've been the guest part. I actually got to do it on Salivate Metal's channel once. I was super stoked that he called me up on stage, kind of sort of like. But I wouldn't mind being able to do that. I'd rather have. I'd like to get something like that. So there are a couple channels do that, and I thought I was headed that way with one of the stacking channels, but I don't know what happened. I know he ended up doing that with somebody else. But there's a bunch of people that do that out there. There's the Saturday Chill, which I think now at this point is predominantly Blue Collar Stacker and Vegas Stacker. They do something like that. That's really cool. I've been on their show once or twice. Who else does it? Oh, Humble Stack, Metal Mob. So that is Liberty Bleeds Silver, Cartier Silver, Humble Stacker, and I think somebody else, maybe Rural, or maybe it got revolving guest spots. I like that. That's fun. Um, Let me see who else does that. Yeah, I'm plenty. I see some. Forget what it is. Maybe I touch subscriptions up in my kind of like table of contents menu thingy, and home, and mostly I'll tool through those and I'll save to watch later, and that way I can get caught up on stuff. And I actually haven't watched it yet, but I've been hearing all about this AI Asian guy, and uh, how some people are copying him, but it's the same AI image, kind of a clean cut looking. I wouldn't know if possibly they're trying to depict the the image as a Chinese male, but and I live in Hawaii, so I'm surrounded by all different kinds of Asian and Pacific Islander type lineages and races. Could be it could be maybe Vietnamese or Laotian, but a very clean cut, business looking guy. I've seen the images, so but I'd also heard talk in some of the other channels, kind of bad mouthing this a, a silver Asian guy, to paraphrase it. So I did. I found it on just the regular home feed, and I think I saved it to watch later because before I can really comment on something like that, I should at least have some kind of some kind of experience with it myself, not just going off of hearsay. Um, which kind of, I don't know. I think it probably just blends in with my con, uh, conspiracy theorist mindset. It's not paranoia if they're really out to get you. That kind of attitude. I haven't been able to shake that, but as I've gotten older, as things that I thought could possibly happen have not happened, um, I'm kind of gravitating away from that to I really don't care anymore, I think, but I'm prepared. I'm prepared for a lot of stuff. Not prepared for Civil War because in Hawaii, it's super. It's just like there's no Second Amendment. And to me, no Civil War would be complete without, self-defense, extreme self-defense. But I'm over that too. Kind of, sort of. I'm over it. I'm over it because there's nothing I can do about it. Nothing I really want to do about it. If I wasn't married, if I didn't have a family to be responsible for, I probably wouldn't pay attention to legalities as much as I do now as a responsible husband and son-in-law. But it is what it is. So I just kind of play the cards that I'm dealt, and I try to play them without cheating. And I try not to look at another person's hole cards. If I was playing poker, Hold'em, I do miss playing poker. I miss playing poker with humans, and I miss playing poker on the line, the internet. I did that for a little while with some place. The website was called Party Poker, and got in it, did really well. And it turns out I might have been one of the very few that actually was able to cash out their winnings. I forget what come up, and I needed the money, and I'm not a gambler. I mean, poker is, I guess, technically gambling, but there's a lot more math, a lot less chance involved than, say, something like roulette, or especially roulette. That's I wouldn't play that. Or craps. Don't have the patience to learn something new. Uh, but I'm good with percentages and odds, and I can compute that kind of stuff really quickly in my head. I have a couple cheating tools. I mean, not cheating tools, but it doesn't have to be exact. I don't need to know that I have a 51.38% chance of uh, getting one of my outs in a flop or the turn or the river when it comes to playing Hold'em. I'm okay with just coming close, 50%. So I got it's called rule of 4 and 2. So yeah, I miss certain stuff, but this is nice. And thank you for the therapy session, you guys. Oh my goodness, we got 6 people in here. Let's see if I can touch some more buttons and find out what's going on. Participants. Nope, just me. All right. Um, Happy Tiger, Omega C. All right, guys. Subscribe to your channel. Happy to. Yeah, thank you. That is very, very nice of you, OC Omega Stacking 3. Happy Tiger's a drummer, a gifted drummer, like musical drums. She's got a really sweet voice. She's got good photography skills and video skills. Um, real sweet human. And I think she's got a pretty loyal and steady following, subscriber following. And I kind of feel like I was one of Happy Tiger's OG subscribers, original subscribers, but just really appreciate her attitude, especially her positive attitude when it comes to certain subjects and life in general. Sometimes life throws you curves. She's not one that's going to step in the bucket and make a swing with all her weight on her back foot. She's going to adjust and swing through that ball and hit it. So I got to get to. You're very welcome. I try to speak the truth, um, and all the time. Um, Lying's not. I'm not smart enough to keep up with lies. I learned that as a kid. Who did that? Not me. It turns out it was me. So that's good. Well, I have touched enough buttons. I did learn how to turn people blue. So I got me a blue person army. Um, I don't know what that means. I think you can kick people out or put them in timeout or something. My name is Blue on a few, stacker channels, but I don't really don't want that responsibility. Oh, well, I trust, but I trust you, Tiger, and now I've known you longer than OC Omega Stacking 3, but I trust OC Omega Stacking 3 because I've perused some of his videos already, and he's got quite an eclectic array of video subjects, and he likes knives. I like knives. I wouldn't call myself a knife stacker, but I've got some pretty decent knives. I've actually got a custom knife. The guy's name was Ken Richardson, I think. And I bought a really nice big Bowie knife from him with a stag handled. It's just full tang. I mean, the thing is, it's the whip. I don't use it for much. And I've got an old Weiss, Weiss. It's got to be from, I'm going to say at least before the Second World War. It could have been a hand-me-down to my dad from my grandfather. It could have been something that my dad got first in the family, and he was born in 1923. So it's got some age to it, and it could probably stand to be reconditioned a little bit. But it's also a stag handled. It's not big like a Bowie. I actually used that to whittle on my calluses on my toes. 7 watching. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. And then I've got of course, I got a daily carry. Um, it's a cold steel folding knife with a really nice, convenient clip that I can put it in my left pocket. And I used to, and I tell you, my favorite knife, and I've used it for everything from, uh, butchering a whitetail or a Canada goose or duck to cutting my baklava is a K-bar, nice K-bar, not the so mine's a 1022. It's been so long since I've looked at it. I keep it in my truck. Oh, Joshua, now I tell you, Omega, OC Omega Stacking 3 and Happy Tiger, go check out Joshua Official's channel. I've watched a couple of his videos, but He does, oh my goodness, OC, this, he's a young man. He is, I think, somewhat of a beginning silver stacker, but I tell you, not only is it's just, I really, really enjoyed his video, and this might be one of his latest ones. So to put it in a nutshell real quick, he started stacking 100, so the subject is 100 days of stacking, kind of like, so he gets into stacking and buys 10 ounces of stacking, and he's already knows the routine. Instead of going out and just buying anything, he got the JM starter pack. I actually asked him that question in the comments. I think he responded affirmatively. Yeah, he used the JM. So he follows the progress of this 10-ounce purchase that he made, but he fills it in with, I mean, the video looks like he might have, oh man, I don't know how many video sessions he had to do in order to kind of splice all these scenes together throughout the whole video. And it is, not only is it an interesting tale story, but it's pertinent to today's silver environment. Nice. He's a winner in this, in the end game. And then there's a mystery penny that kind of spying on him along the way. And he goes in between, like, talking, interacting with him, his true persona. So somehow he makes it looks like he's talking to himself, but kind of in a third person. I mean, it's some pretty serious, what you call it, video editing tech. I was really super impressed. A little jealous. I think I might have said, "Oh, I'm a little envious," but no, a little jealous. But then I assuaged my inadequacies in the fact that he's a young person. He probably grew up on technology and remote controls. When I grew up, we had 3 channels, and I was the remote control. Hey, get up and turn it. Or my brothers would have me hold the coat hanger antenna thingy, aluminum foil stuff. So I think he has a head start technology. But I mean, everybody of that age group has, and I think a very small minority of them have been able to grasp the techniques and the procedures in order to publish that video that he did. It's pretty outstanding. And he's got these. I've seen these shades. I think a guy named Ben Shapiro, not precious metal related, but I think that's when I first saw these. They're kind of shades that they're I don't know what you call it, like a cartoon shade, but yeah, but he's got some real life ones. I think those are real life kind. They probably, maybe at Spencer's Gifts they sell those things now. I don't know, but super entertaining. Actually, when I started editing 8 months ago, oh man, that makes me feel really good. No, I'm just teasing you, Joshua. Uh, I understand. That's great. And believe it or not, this is actually an exercise in my trying to learn. And now this is from another influence that I've had, salivate metal, T squared. There's more of a precious metals, but and a laptop specifically. But I saved your channel. I subscribed and saved your video under a watch later, not the watch later list, but something more specific. And because I'd love to be able to. I mean, I got the brain to think that kind of stuff. I just don't have the skills to do that. But that would be. I bet you that was a blast to put together. And I kind of feel like you had maybe somebody around at certain parts of them that, if you, to be dragged away, you probably had maybe a sibling or an extra. Oh no, what do you call it? Body double, um, stunt double. Oh, 200 subs, man. If you are going to just keep doing what you're doing, and I'm sure you have ways to uh, get the word out there. Um, I don't know if I might have shared yours. I don't know. I don't do that very often because sometimes I feel like it's almost intrusive. Uh, but oh man, yeah, I think you're going to be. Uh, I yeah, you're really good. You are really good. Um, and if you're that new to it, or you know, wow, good for you. Um, but yeah, awesome, man. I tell you, that's pretty flattering. I got Happy, Joshua, and OC Omega stacking at the same time. Your goal is 200 subscribers. I I I don't know. I can't even tell you how many subscribers I have. I have not really paid much attention to that, and I've stuck to that. I do recall back in the day when I first started learning from other kind of beginning channel people, they didn't care about that. They didn't care about, but that's what they say, but they didn't act that way. You know, I don't care about subscribers, and then the next day is, oh man, I'm up to 279 subscribers, and so, but I really don't care. uh, 470. You went from 200 to 472 already? Oh no, okay. Omega, you're gonna crush 200 subscribers big time. I think. I don't know. Um, but I gotta write this down. I have to write stuff down too. Don't, I mean, yes, do get old, because that means you live. But getting old is junk. So share Joshua. And I like that play on the Jaws Shua. I think that's cool. And OC Omega. Now there's another OC. I think it's just plain old OC Stacker. Now, I don't know if does that mean Orange County, New York, Orange County, California, but I know you're different from them. So let me see. OC Omega stacking 3. And I try not to be an asshole. OC Stacker, yeah. Uh, so I actually do make an effort when I do this sharing stuff to put a very positive spin on it. And fortunately, I only get inspired to do that sharing stuff if I get a very positive, feeling from the channel creation thing. Uh, not not solely based on their participation with my channel content, because I haven't had any for uh, almost a year. I think my last successful live was 11 months ago, which coincidentally kind of about the same time as I hurt my back and have been trying to recover from that. Yeah, OC Stacker. I haven't seen him. Usually just see him in the chats every once in a while. Used to. Uh, but yeah, I don't think people are going to confuse. But I don't think it hurts to have OC Omega stacking all in and number 3 all in the same moniker or a channel name. That's a good name. I picked. I didn't know what I picked SilverSleuth because I was interested in learning about silver and gold stacking, precious metal stacking in the 21st century, um, or in the 2020s, or modern day, compared to, it just seemed like so long ago since I paid attention to silver and gold, because life gets in the way of life's plans. So my priorities are always going to be, God, family, wife, uh, long-term food preps, water purification, and catchments, and security, other investments, non-precious metal relations, trying to clear up some of the work I still left behind in Ohio, which I'm coming up on here pretty soon, hopefully. And oh, there's a nice green chameleon. I don't get to see him very often. You get lots of lizards over here. Um, so yeah, that's so I don't pay attention, but I recently, so I must have put something out. It might have been a clip from a previous video I put out months ago, and Salivate Metal left a comment on my video. I have to admit that does tickle whatever endorphin is in my brain that responds to that kind of stuff. So Joshua, you go eat dinner now. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming in, and the feedback and all that stuff. I will see you next time. I'll look for you. Don't be a stranger. And what a great time to kind of put this to rest at 3 hours and 9 minutes. Holy cannoli. So after this, I'm going to, I wrote it down. Oh, eventually, so after this, I've got some real quick chores to do, but Has-Been Hotel, Shared Joshua, OC Omega stacking. I'll check Happy Tiger, and so on and so forth. I'm sure I'll remember something. I probably should eat too, although I did have my new lifestyle choice meal of steel cut coach's oats with cinnamon and not Ceylon, which I hear is better, but Saigon organic cinnamon. But I don't use a whole lot of it because I understand it could possibly interfere with some liver functions. So I'm not going crazy. And because I'm still a sugar addict at heart, I added some blueberries, which are supposed to be heart healthy. And non-heart healthy wise, I put some organic brown sugar in there because I think I will always be a sweet tooth junkie for the rest of my life. But I'm trying to back of all that. Haven't had, I went from eating 21 eggs a week to maybe one every 2 weeks, or I don't even remember the last time I had egg, and no bacon, because I cannot handle these cholesterol lowering drugs that both of my doctors want me to have. My primary care physician and my heart guy, the guy that saved my life, put a stent in my. But all my other three, he said, they even told me, said, no, those are clear. Just the one was 99% blocked. So they put a stent in there and I lived. I think it took like 3 hours. By the time I got in the hospital, the emergency room, I didn't go to the ambulance because I'm a tightwad, and it's just right down the road. So I had my wife drive me, had her drop me off. Didn't see her for another 3.5 days, and probably within 3 hours, I had already been calved and scanned and determined. Oh, we got blockage, and put under and given the went through the stent procedure, and then woke up. And that's when I discovered, oh, somebody was cleaning up some hair down there, because they got to go in through your femoral artery or some other artery. They picked my femoral artery, which is down by the groin region. So that was embarrassing. Although I wasn't awake when they did it, so maybe it wasn't embarrassing. But nobody looked at me funny. I didn't even know the nurses that were there. So yeah, that's good fun. Oh wow. Yeah, and up until then, I had not been to the doctor for over 20, probably since, I think I had kidney stones in the 90s. Definitely in the 90s, so maybe mid 90s, I started getting kidney stones. And I think that I brought that upon myself, because at that point I was kind of a health nut-ish, and read something about Linus Pauling. He won the Nobel Prize a couple times, I think, science. And he was like 90, 80 years old, and he was doing mass quantities of pure ascorbic acid, vitamin C, and I thought I'd do that, and I did that for years. Never got a cold, never got sick, but it turns out that it's possible that too much vitamin C can lead to kidney stones. That plus a bunch of other calcium oxalate rich foods like kiwi, especially the skin. Yes, thank God for anesthesia. Kiwi is calcium oxalate rich. Brussels sprouts, spinach, berries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, Ovaltine, and black tea, black K-pop tea. Green tea's fine. But so this heart healthy thing, again, the one doctor on the YouTube will say, oh, don't eat oats. They're only to make horses fat or cows fat. And then you got a bunch of others, doctors saying, oh, no, oats are good for your arteries and all that. I tend to pay attention to the heart surgeons and the cardiac doctors that are kind of spouting that no, steel cut oats and certain foods are good. It might even lower your LCL, which is the bad stuff. But I really never bought into that cholesterol propaganda, but when you're faced with life or death situations, I guess it's possible that some people might change their mind. I did, but I've been now I'm reconvinced that LDL might be bad, but the drugs that they push on you, um, they're worse, way worse, way worse. Yeah, fiber. I think the I think the I think the oats might have some kind of a fiberish effect or benefit. But I'm curious. The only thing is, so they've got. So I don't know hardly anything about diabetes except it's bad and it runs rampant in Hawaii. But they got home test kits for that. You got home test kits for this, home pregnancy tests. Whether you're using blood or urine, all these tests. I've yet to discover an LDL cholesterol DIY at home test. I don't know if they exist. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't exist because I think this cholesterol thing is a racket. 22.8. Wow, views on your channel. That's whoa. Those are probably unique. Would we call that unique views? So you get 22,800 different. Oh, maybe not. It might be through all your videos, but that's a lot of human eyes. That's a lot of eyes on your thoughts and your work and your efforts. That's strong. I mean, I kind of think I could probably touch a few buttons and find those. I think it's under the YouTube maybe studio thingy, which looks like it's a completely different app. But I know I don't bother with that. There was a while where when I started successfully having videos post and get some feedback, I didn't want to mess it up. And then who messed it up for me? Mr. Motorola. I just have issues with Motorola phones. I went through 3 Motorola phones doing nothing. Maybe one of them I did drop pretty heavily once, but they would swell up like they were looking like they wanted to burst or something. I thought it was maybe battery issues or something. So I switched to this new Samsung Galaxy, not a super expensive phone. I didn't do the payment thing. It wasn't that expensive, but and I knew it didn't have a headphone jack, so it's kind of back to scratch. But I used to not touch any of that stuff. So today I took a chance on my laptop because I really don't use it for much. I actually use it to do my YouTube viewing because I can do that and still do other multitasking, whether it's budgeting or um, writing down ideas, you name it, and all kinds of stuff. You have 45,991 views. Holy mackerel. I wonder how many of those are mine watching my own. Wow, that seems like a lot. Oh, neato. Um, yeah, I mostly I kind of like the feedback. I like I probably do most of my uh, interactions on this YouTube is in other people's comments section or in their chat feed when they're doing a live cast. Um, I think I actually do some of my best work in the comments. You get time, you can take your time. I'm not an excellent typer. I dropped typing really quickly in ninth grade because we didn't have electric typewriters. We had the old manual kind, and I just kept jamming my pinky through and, I was too cool for that, so I dropped it. Um, I concentrated more on shop and art. Art was an easy A. So almost 46,000 views. Well, that's to me that sounds like a lot. Um, I haven't put anything out about 11 months. I bet. Um, wow, that's surprising, but I won't let it go to my head. Uh, but that's kind of neat. Thank you. That's surprising. Kind of encouraging, especially seeing as I haven't put anything out there for such a long time. Occasionally, I get a comment on an old comment. So, and I don't know if I still haven't figured out whether they're actually commenting to my comment or they just commenting to the overall subject that I commented on. But I get those every once in a while. And then I actually have to touch, at least look at the little thumbnail to see, well, I kind of remember saying that somewhere, but then I end up watching that video kind of again and realizing, and then I see, oh my gosh, this is from 16 months ago or 10 months ago or something like that. I find that's kind of interesting. I don't know when the last one was that I had. Well, I'm trying to think what it was. Sometimes I make comments on all kinds of stuff. I do watch some retirement channels, people my age talking about retirement. I have another channel that I haven't done anything with. It's got a great name. It's called Silver Linings, Golden Years. Yeah, but I haven't done anything with it other than I occasionally hop on that and go around and look at other boomers with their channels and try to get ideas. And I save them. I got a save list for SilverSleuth, and then I got a save list for Silver Linings, Golden Years. So yeah, I haven't done anything with that because I don't know. I kind of feel like I ran out of stuff to say, but I always have I always feel like I am always able to respond to somebody else's efforts and work. Maybe it's because I'm lazy, and maybe I'm lazy because I'm old. But Tiger will say you're only as old as you feel. Yeah, I thought that was a good name. Actually, it would work for the silver community, the stacking community too. I do occasionally. I try to come up with neat little taglines and whatever. So I say, silver is my landing zone for my golden parachute. I like that. Of course, I don't know how to copyright any of this stuff, but I have noticed some of the things I've said magically appear in other people's channels sometimes. But I think that's the phone listening to me and then putting out information. Have you ever done that where my wife and I'd be talking about something, and next thing I know, I get an ad about whatever that was. We were talking about, I forget what it was, cricket. It was some hobby thing. We were talking about that she was considering on getting into a while back, a long time ago, probably while we still lived on the mainland, and maybe quilting or something. Next thing you know, I start getting all these ads, YouTube ads, or ads on my phone. Yeah, it's. I can only imagine what AI is going to do that. And I made up what was that? Remember Old MacDonald? That's it. That's the name of the song, Old MacDonald. So yeah, I did a mashup of Old MacDonald Has a Farm and AI. But at the very least, I entertain myself. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much, guys. 238 videos. Wow, that's a lot. Well, I'm going to hit the end stream button. Thank you so much, everybody that's here, everybody that came and went. See the participants. Okay. I did learn quite a bit today. You're funny. I like you. Thank you, folks. And I'll see you soon. Probably on your turf. But if not, maybe in the other chat channels sometimes, on their lives. I think that's how I actually met OC Omega. I forget how I met Happy Tiger. Might have been talking about tigers, and my phone heard it. And, oh, here's something for you if you like tigers. I wouldn't doubt it. But you guys take care. Yep, you have a great evening. I'm going to continue with having a great day, and I will see you all, folks. So until the next time, all right then. Oh, I forgot I could tap. I could type also. er, Aloha, and a don ho to you too. All right then. Your stream will stop immediately, and you will no longer be live. Okay, I can deal with that.